feel it wrapped around your soul with no control? You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I'll run, I'll hide. Darkness always clouds my mind. When I look behind, it's moving closer every time. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, for your friend, you get me till at the end. At the end. Can you feel it wrapped around your soul with no control? You can't breathe when you're drowning underwater. There's so much water. I can't pretend that I have a strong defense. 'Cause darkness, for your friend, you get me till at the end.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? Will Stewart, THFCRants. How are we doing today? All right. Is everybody doing well out there in the world? Eating out. I've been getting some heat on Twitter for this. People who obviously don't watch the channel. I guess there's some people think that I'm making money off this, but I'm not. I don't have inventory on these shirts. I had to pay for this one myself. Don't get them for free. But yeah, people don't realize that Teespring is the company that does this. And they charge me quite a bit for the blanks, the print, and the shipping. I mean, the customer pays for the shipping, but Yeah, my mic seems to be popping in and out. Anyway, how you guys doing? Cody Mack says he's at the point where I would travel to the UK to protest before I go to watch a match. How about you? I don't know, dude. I'm not sure about that. Don't have $3,000. Believe it or not. Anyway, folks, let's handle the business here. Business side of things. Got Williams Rangers, Spartan 7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, Mama Coates. You can sign up, become a Patreon. Sign up for the $5 level. That's just like a plain support for the channel. And then you've also got the $10 level, which means that you get a link to shows like this. And you can come on and ask questions to the panels. And we're working on some exclusive content for you. Well, and he said, Will, the real people know how good you are. I'm sick of hearing you have defend yourself. Hey, you know, it is what it is. Right now that I know of, I don't know of any place where you can go buy an Enix shirt. So excuse me for trying to provide a service to people. Excuse me for doing that. Anyway, I know I don't make any money on the shirts, and that's all that matters. And they're there for you guys to enjoy. If you want to, and they're not that expensive. I mean, come on, it's $20. $20. If you notice on my store, one guy made a comment that one of the Enoch Out sweatshirts were more expensive than the Moon Boots sweatshirt. Well, that's because it's made off of a different blank. If you look at it, one says premium, the Enoch Out is premium, and the Moon Boots one is classic, which means it's a cheaper sweatshirt. I can go out there and I can make the Enoch Out stuff, all of the cheapest ones, not as nice as these, right? For anybody who's in the t-shirt business, you know, this is on a next level blank. I don't mean next level as in like it's the stuff. No, I mean that it's literally the company that makes the shirt blank is called Next Level, and it's one of the most expensive blanks in the industry. It's super high quality shirt. It's soft. It fits nice. The cut is nice. Stuff like that. To be honest with you, I'm not real concerned about those doofies. What have they done to help? So. Levy will definitely look for a cheap coach like Parker. Kevin Murray says Potter in. Let's pull the chats up on the screen like we normally do. And then Eugene. Hi, Will. Seems you have a different camera angle today. Yeah, and hopefully it looks better too. So I happened to get a new camera body, and so I'm using a different lens, and it's a little bit tighter. So the camera's literally sitting probably, I don't know, a good 6 feet from me. It's a little bit tighter, but it seems like it's a little softer. You got a little bit more blurry in the background there. Let me know how you like the new look. Do that. Why does it sound like my audio is popping in and out? Maybe I just need to turn up my own headphones there. Ginger's been getting some sun. No, it's just a different. So this is on my Canon camera. I had a Canon camera before, but it was an older model and it didn't have a clean HDMI output, or it could be used with the webcam app. And so I have got a new body, but I'm still using my old lenses. So I don't have a tighter lens that I did on the cheaper camera that I used to use. So this one's got a better, color profile. See, you can even see my. I can figure out which angle is what. See my stubble. I actually have brown hair. You can actually tell that now. It's not all washed out. Thank you, Kevin. I'm still trying to get this mic situation fixed out. I have to be like all up on it, otherwise it tends to cut out on me. Get Matt Monahan, what's going on, man? I've seen you on Match Channel a lot. As a United fan, you're one of the 3 Spurs channels I've subbed to. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate that. Salt and paprika. Yeah. Yeah, Martin, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Glad that you guys are here. Anyway, let's throw up the comments up on the screen here. Let's throw these comments up on the screen. There we go. So anyway, the topic of today's show is just kind of, just our normal Q&A, our midweek Q&A that we do. And yeah, we can go about and do different things here. Let's get some questions in the house. So the topic of today's show is really going to be about, who's really getting this next job, right? We've got a lot of these different theories and stuff like that. But no one's really said what's going on with it. Is it Conte? Is it Gasperini? Is it Sarri? Is it the purple-headed, the one-eyed flying purple people eater? How do you think that the protests will go? I hope they go well. I hope all the people out there in social media world who like to sling arrows at people actually talking about this issue and spending their own money on it don't end up going to the club shop again during the protest or actually go to the protest. Right? Like the guys on Twitter who are slating me for providing a service to the community. Right? If you're not showing up at the protest, then who are you to call me out? Who are you? But anyway, you get me riled up, Cody. You get me riled up, man. Get me riled up. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. I don't make any money on the Enoch stuff, so if you just want to support the Enoch Out movement, go ahead and do that. I've said that since I launched the store. I've said it on stream several times, and if you go look in the same currency for the same thing, then there's a big difference between it. Right? There's a minimum that I'm allowed to even put the price, or it won't even let me publish it. So just out there for you guys. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Nobody's making you buy them. But that tweet has gone viral. It's that's probably why I'm gotten heat for it. I think that tweet has been seen. Let's see on that tweet. Let's see. I'm just seeing what the trolls have to say. I can figure out how to work my Twitter. It's been seen over 10,000 times. 633 engagements. People are sharing it and liking it and hating on it. That's good. That's good exposure, right? Any exposure is good exposure. Yeah. Dude says it costs the same as any other product. Well, hey, go read the details of the product because that's not true. In fact, let's debunk that myth right here now. Just because I want there to be a come on, focus. There we go. I want there to be a record out there for all the clowns that want to come up and say something to me behind the keyboard there. So we'll share a screen. We'll share a screen here. What happened? Yes, let's see if I can make this bigger. I don't think I can. Here, we can do it like that. Boom. Okay, so this is for people who can't do math and add things. We've got premium tea. You see, you got to read the word premium tea at $19.99. Premium tea at $26.99. That, my friends, is a $7 difference. Yes, you've now figured out my margins. When you buy a t-shirt, I make $7. Okay? All right, now let's go to the rest of the Enoch Out stuff. Enoch Out face mask, $9.99. The bold and bearded Tottenham Boys Show face mask is how much, fellas? $14.99. Why would I charge? Is my and Cody's face so much more pretty? Is it so much more pretty? It is more pretty, but the difference is the margin, right? Manspell premium pullover hoodie, $47.99. Look, Mansmell sticker, $7.99. Enoch Out sticker, $3.99. Okay. The one thing in question here is the Enoch Out premium pullover hoodie. Right? And if you guys remember up here, look up here, there's a $8 difference on the hoodie. Premium pullover hoodie, $47.99, $39.99. Now there's this classic pullover hoodie for $41.99. Right? And in pounds, this blank is cheaper than that blank. This one is a classic pullover hoodie. You notice the quality of the hoodie is lower. This one is a different material. The blank costs more. That has all the margin pulled out of it. That has all the margin pulled out of it. So we can clip this and do that. In pounds, it's a different currency. They set different prices for their shirts that they make in the UK. They are made and fulfilled in the UK. Right? There's different prices for the US. Manufacturer who prints the shirts in the US has different fees than the person that prints them in the UK. Different prices. Not that hard. Not that hard. let's click into this one here just so you can see, right? This is 60 inches for $37.99. 60 inches. You couldn't even go to FedEx, the FedEx store, or whatever office store you're at, and buy a 60-inch banner for $37.99. Tell me where you can do that. Tell me where you can do that. Right? 104 inches for $64. Tell me, could you go to FedEx and get a 100-inch banner for $64? I know you can't. This is at cost, folks. I do not make any cash. But for the doubters who do that, let's see. Get rid of this stop share screen. Why is my mouse not working? Why are you not focusing on me? It's because I'm looking the wrong way. Can't find my baby blues. I'll make a pledge right here now. If I make any money on the Enoch House shirts, I will donate it to charity. I will donate it to a youth football association. I'm making that pledge right now on the Enoch House stuff. Too bad for the charities that I won't be making any money, so I won't be donating anything to the charities. But if I am making money, I'll share it to the charity. Okay, does that settle it? Are you happy now? Are the trolls happy now? Anyway, let's get back to something that really matters, because these idiots just drive me nuts. Drives me nuts. Let's get some questions. Ask me some questions. Let's go. Question time, question time, question time. You know, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, because I have to look at the camera. Otherwise, it doesn't want to focus on my face. Yes, Marcelo, they are idiots. Bro, at the end of the day, why do people care if people make money? We live and eat and do to money. Like, don't you want money for your work? That's true. I did design it. I designed the shirt. It took my time to set up the shop. I had to buy the domain name, right? There's costs that I'm incurring from holding that. But the reason why I'm offering the Enoch out stuff, buy the other stuff, right? Buy the other stuff too. I make money, a little bit of money. It's not a lot. Like you saw there, if you want to go see what my margins are on this stuff, we're talking like $6 a shirt. Okay. But I didn't want to. And I said that from the very first time that I announced it on this channel, that I will not take money for the Enoch out stuff, because it wouldn't be right. But now, granted, you got a lot of people. That tweet has me posting my shirt. I was just excited that I got the shirt. I liked it. I thought it looked sharp. You know what I mean? Boom. Hashtag Enoch out. The shirt, the Feela's shirt, it's a next level blank. I know what the blanks are. I've made these 100 times before for other companies that I have. Feels good. It fits nice. You know, it's a nice shirt. Yeah, it didn't take a lot of creativity. It's text, right? But I had to purchase fonts. I had to purchase license for fonts in order to use them and publish them and then sell them, right? Not only that, I'm tax liable for even the sale. I'm liable for taxes on the sale of the shirt, even though I'm not making any profit. Because there's a cost, but because there's a revenue, I'm tax liable. But hey, you be you, trolls. You be you, folks. You be you. But yeah. It's kind of funny what people like to do. Different blanks have different prices, fella. One is premium. One is cheap. Ink. You should never check your Twitter before going on stream. Sorry. What a waste of 26 minutes. I give the trolls too much love. I know, but I have to say my piece. I have to say my piece, otherwise it'll burn me up inside. That's just my personality. So thank you for being patient with me for the last 26 minutes while I kind of ranted. That's why I have a rant channel. I like to rant. Are there kid sizes? I think like the smallest it goes, my man, is adult small. Adult small. There might be some that are in extra small. I could probably put in some youth products up there, Yid Kid, if you want me to. We've got a Twitch commenter. Hello, Zenenzai. What's going on, my man? Another Twitch viewer, John Zavatsky. Sup, man? What's going on, guys, on Twitch? Mr. K made a good point, apparently. We need to bring the fan base together. Getting rid of the toxic language that some put out is important. Educate the rest. I see so much online badgering that does nothing for the cause. 100%, man. Should I tell this guy to get on the stream? He wants to? Join my live stream. And talk to me like a man. If you doubt my motives. Come on. Come on the stream. Turkish teams you like or would like to visit? Will, is there any Turkish teams you like? To be honest with you, I'm sorry, Jake. I don't know a whole lot about the Turkish top league. Unfortunately. I would love to go to Istanbul or different parts of Turkey. Yeah. Marcel, you want me to at you at these fools on this one? I'm gonna at Marcelo on here. I'll reply to this clown with at Tangangsta 25, and you can go badger him. Sick Marcelo on him. Sick Marcelo on him.
I'm telling you, bros.
Let's go. I added you, Marcelo. Go get him. If you got any Twitter trolls, just at Tangangsta25, and Marcelo will take care of them for you. Marcelo will take care of 100%. No, but I don't watch a whole lot of Turkish football. Sorry, man. I appreciate it though. And yeah. Anyway, you know what? To get this off here, I'm gonna look at anytime I don't look at the camera or towards the camera, that it just wants to go crazy on me. I'll have to get that figured out. That's because I'm using older EF lenses on a EFM body for people that like tech. Hey, Will, what about Rafa Benitez for Tottenham job? Rafa, what about Rafa? You know, I haven't thought about it a lot. He's not one of my favorite. Dan, I can't make an educated opinion on it because I haven't really studied like the statistics of his past or stuff like that. I mean, I know that in Spain and stuff like that, but no, I'm not convinced, man. He's kind of got a lot of baggage too. We got Lewis 2705. What's going on, my man? How you doing? Cody Max says, Will, when do you think the manager hunt will come to an end? I think it will come to an end. I think it's already come to an end, to be honest with you. I think they've already got a dude signed up. And I don't necessarily think that they don't know who they're going to pick right now. I think it's all media hype to distract us. You know? Marcelo, do you want me to read your retweet? Oh, I heart you, dude. I heart you, dude. I heart you for sure. You're amazing. If there is a price conflation on there, yeah. And smell tea is only 20 pounds, 86 cents. That means I'm not making any money on that man smell tea in England. I'll have to up that up. But anywho, messages. Let's see. Do it. You want me to read it? Okay, I'll read it out. So Marcelo says to the troll, he says, first off, you uneducated fool, you must be a moron, but money is how we live. How about I told you work for 8 hours and get no paycheck at the end? Will puts in the work for those merchandise, and whether he makes a profit off it has nothing to do with anything. It's called making a business and opening up different markets to grow your brand. Don't you want to invest in yourself to make your life dream better? Will's a hard worker, and if he makes profit, then good for him. Why are you a hater? Go do something in life. You're a monster. I love you. Thanks for letting me know I've got to add margin to that one shirt in the UK. Yeah, guys. Let's see. Will, what do you make of the ticket prices for the Villa game? Spurs 60, Arsenal 35. Daniel Levy's is being Daniel Levy's what it is. I should charge people $60 for my shirts, huh? If I wanted to be like Daniel Levy. That's what I'm being accused of. Stay focused. Stay focused, Will. But our ticket prices have been more expensive than Arsenal's for a while, haven't they? Will, do you like any football outside of Europe, example, South America or Asian? I do watch the K-League occasionally. I watch MLS every now and again. There's not a whole lot of. I watch the Australian A-League every now and again. It's hard to watch South American leagues here. I can watch League MX, the Mexican League. They don't show a whole lot of the South American stuff. Even on like BN Sports, it's hard to find. Either that or some weird times of the day that I'm not noticing. It might be at night because they're in a similar time zone to me, and I'm just not looking for games at that time. But yeah. Marcelo goes for the juggler. I know, dude. That's why I say I added him. He take him out. Get him. Call on Marcelo, and he'll be like on the trolls. I am glad that he let me know that the Man Smell shirt didn't have any margin on it. Like seriously, like who would sell a shirt for £20 and 86 pence? Like why would you put that price if that was intended? I would do, $20.99 or something like that. Why 86? But yeah. The A-League is such a banner league. I agree with you. It's not a whole lot of fun, but it's available. You can watch it on ESPN Plus. You can get a bunch of weird leagues on ESPN Plus. FC Seoul. I'm more of an Incheon United guy, David, but FC Seoul's cool too. FC Seoul's. He says our tickets are £12 more expensive than any other team in the league for when fans return. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it a bit. Got to make up for lost time. He's got to make that past profit up, doesn't he? Doesn't he? Doesn't he? Doesn't he? Doesn't he? But yeah. Thank you, Wayne Bonner. I appreciate that. It was an upgrade that needed to be done. Yeah. Like people don't know. I write Wayne, you just sent me down a road again. And I'm trying to get the stream back on track because it's been derailed. I was literally setting up to do the stream. I was playing the quiz game, and I noticed that my Twitter had like 33 notifications on it. And I'm like, holy cow, what's going on in Twitter? Why do I have 33 notifications? And I looked at it, and there was like 2 or 3 guys who were trolling me and retweeting my picture of me wearing my shirt. Saying that I'm trying to profit off of Daniel Levy and I'm no better than Daniel Levy. And now you've gone down because people don't realize, right? People don't realize this. But you got people like I'm happen to be fortunate in the job that I'm in now that I can do all kinds of things. And but I have spent more money to do this and I'm making nothing. Not nothing. I have some Patreons that should pay out next week and it'll be about $20. For the t-shirts, I think to date I've made about $50 on t-shirts from the other stuff from the Bald and Bearded Tottenham Boys show, the Man Smell, and the Moon Boots. Mr. K, do you have a Twitter? I don't even know if Mr. K has. Do you have Twitter? Jump on the stream, Mr. K. I sent you the link. You do have a Twitter because I just messaged you on Twitter. What am I talking about? At Mr. K. There you go, man. Mr. K's been Twittered. But anyway, I got this stream. We've gone on 41 minutes now. Look, I'm just gonna throw the link in the chat because the whole plan for today has just been shot down the river. But that's okay. Let's just make this an open forum. We can just talk about stuff. There, boom. There's the link. Jump in the stream if you want. Jump on in it. But anywho, thank you, Wayne, for the compliment. I appreciate that. But I've spent a lot of money in order to do this. Do all this stuff, you know?
I'm telling you, bros.
You know, all of this stuff that I have. The lighting, camera, StreamYard service, all of that stuff has cost. I've gone probably, I'm not even gonna say. It's not worth it. Mr. K, what's going on, my man?
It's a beautiful sunny day here in London, unless you step outside, in which case you're freezing cold. Typical British weather. Totally upside down. Meant to be summer. It seems to me that everyone's talking about left and right, and you know, it seems like all a malarkey and a distraction, and keep everyone talking. Is it this manager? Is it that manager? You know, is it this one or that one? There's some names that have been circulated from the beginning, like Sarri. They're continuously going around. But Potter, well, I think that's a Poch mark too. Ryan, if he makes top 4, I think he deserves it. Everyone else, waste of time. Conte will just have them for breakfast, and I think they'll all run away and start crying and won't come out of their beds. Levy will have to get rid of him then.
Sure, and I'm also going to bring in this young gentleman right here who's become a legend.
Yid Kid.
Yes, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Everything's good over here. And you?
Doing good, dude. Shouldn't you be in school?
Today's my day off. And I'm in lunch. And I'm in lunch.
Okay, lunch break. That's good. All my kids are. You still doing distance learning, or are you back at school yet?
I was supposed to be back in school, but there's some kid in my class that got COVID, so everybody gets quarantined for like 2 weeks. So I'm at the house.
That happened to somebody at my son's school, but he didn't come in direct contact. Apparently, like for the way his school did it, it was the kid that sat in front of him, behind him, and to the left and to the right of him. And all 4 of his classes had to be quarantined for 2 weeks or something like that.
My school is different. I sit across the room from them, and they still quarantine me.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, they have my son's school. They have a pretty good distance. So we live in a big county, but we live on the rural side of that county. So kind of just as the big city turns into country, so the building is big, but there's not a whole lot of students, so they have plenty of room. Whereas like the kids downtown are kind of packed into 30 plus kids per classroom, whereas his is a bit smaller. So, but how you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Now I get to watch Tottenham too, so it's better.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You know, I'm amazed that we've got this generation of young Spurs fans like the Yid Kid, Lily White. There's a few more that pop onto the Irish Hotspur channel. and it's incredible how, you know, like the Yid kid and a few of the others, that they're incredibly knowledgeable on the ins and outs of what's happening with Spurs as a club, not rather than just be looking at the game, which is what I would do if I was a kid back in my day. But it seems to me that the youngsters are really, really clued up. And, you know, big up on them. They're the future generation. They're the ones who are going to take over. And hopefully Levy Inik will be a long, distant memory, not even a faint smell of anything bad. Hopefully.
Oh, for sure.
And it's down to us. You know, it's down to us, the you know, the grown-ups, so to speak, that are around now, or the youngsters to bug their dads to say, listen, let's go and protest. It's not, the thing is, it's going to be like Arsenal football TV. They had very low numbers, a bit like how a lot of the Spurs channels have. And then they started on the campaign to get Wenger out. And when they first started, everyone was cussing them. Everyone was putting them down, saying, how dare you, look what he's done, look what he's done. And the same thing we were getting from the beginning, last September, last August. You know, look what Levy's done, he's built this, he's built that, blah, blah, blah. And then slowly, people started to come around. And there is a movement. But then again, having said that, there's also a fight back as well from the media. There's a distraction, there's noise. There are people who are being fed information. Because I've observed quite a few things. I'll talk about them some other time. But right now, it's just managers, right?
Yep, for sure. We can talk about anything we want, really. I mean, it's just kind of Q&A show. So any questions that you have, we can go for it.
Yeah, I let people put the questions in, and you know, if we can answer it as a panel, then we can. I mean, I got questions for you. 6'5", man, we need you at that protest. You know, you're gonna hold a banner and you're gonna be seen.
And I'd have my big giant black Enoch out banner that I'm apparently making a killing off of.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, protesters have to like look a little bit intimidating, don't they? Without doing any sort of intimidating sort of thing. Otherwise, they do silly things like break windows and stuff like that and run around the football pitch. If we have the numbers, can we do what Chelsea did? I think we might be too polite. We might be a little bit too polite. There seems to be something different. I don't know. Our club is very, very different compared to all the others. If you look at the last 20 years, how opposition fans, how the media, how the pundits speak about Spurs, it's, you know, they're not afraid of us. They don't respect us. I mean, Neville turned around and said, yeah, Liverpool this, Chelsea that, Man City this, Arsenal that. And then he came to Spurs and he goes, well, I don't really care about Spurs. And I'm thinking, what? Like, you made all that big speech about every other club, and then you came to ours and you just turned around and tried. If you're still insulting us, when we fans need to get together, you still can't help it. That means that there's a programming and a training that has occurred for 20 years because we haven't stopped anyone from doing that to us. Yeah. So there's something there. There's something there. And it needs, we need to break this type of mental sort of like programming that's occurred to Spurs fans. You know, if you think about it, it's like everyone's talking about getting their board level out, and then it comes to Spurs and it's like, well, we'd like to get them out, but it may be really hard. In fact, it could be the hardest one out of all of them. Nah, geezer. I reckon this is the easiest board to get out. Honest to God, I do. Because they've never seen the fan base at their face. They've never, ever seen them come at the board. They've never seen them come at the club. And there's something going on from the beginning with Harris Army, and it's spreading around. Channels like, you know, We Are Tottenham TV, Chris and so forth. They've all started to say Enoch out. You know, these channels are sponsored and so forth, and they never used to say that, but they probably felt it in their heart as fans. We all do, but there seems to be a sense of belief, you know. So we can sit here and we can talk about which manager is going to come in or out, yeah. And some people are so turned off they don't care. Some people are still invested in the club that they wanted to see it succeed, so therefore they do care. You know, I'm in the middle somewhere. I want to see the club succeed. I don't want it to go down, but at the same time, something has to be done. We have to protest. I say that there are rules that you need to follow when you're doing this type of thing. Like, you know, don't break the law. Don't use physical violence. Don't abuse the players. Say the players are not good enough, but don't start to get in a bad language sort of way. Don't start trolling them with nasty things, because you remember that stream that was done the other day with Tottenham away. Players are human beings too. They have mental, like players. The one thing that you say, they need confidence. Well, if you're slagging them off every day, what confidence they're going to get? If you keep doing it, then they're going to keep. I mean, let's face it, the players do look at social media. They can't help it. They're young. They're going to do it. So they're going to be seeing on a regular basis. Like moon boots is fine because it makes you laugh. But there are other words being used to describe players which are very nasty. But because the fan base on a certain portion is feeling so bad about the performances and what they perceive to be, it's his fault, that they're willing to allow someone to say something and get away with it. And you're a bit more careful as a fan base, and we do need to be a bit more mature. I mean, the youngsters, we've got like the Yid kid and so forth. They're very mature for their age. They do voice what they're not happy with, but they're very mature with the way they bring it out. It's some of the grown-ups, on the other hand, that are acting like a bunch of delinquent kids. And I think that's not fair. You're feeling the effects of some trolls, right? Do you think those trolls are not Spurs fans? Or do you think
they are Spurs fans for sure, 100%
So
Spurs fans. But actually, this is good. I just was it while you were talking and doing it. Sorry for me multitasking. I had because of my site, it has two setups sections. It has the U.S. store, and it has the U.K. store. Changes the currency. I didn't realize at all that all of my products, I was making no money in the UK. So thank you, trolls. Thank you, trolls. Because I've just gone in there and updated it. So now I'm actually making £6 or £7 per shirt because all
oh my days. I just realized what's going on, Will. I just realized, because any sensible person, when they look at what you're saying on a regular basis, you've been saying in every stream, you've been explaining yourself in every stream, and you're talking sensible facts. And you're not yelling at people. You're not just kicking them off. You're talking to them in a proper way, and you're showing them evidence. For them to continue doing what they're doing means that there's an agenda which is being played out, which makes me think that, something else is going on. Maybe you're making yourself too popular, mate.
Well, no, I mean, that's the point, right?
I think Levy might have noticed you, mate. I think Levy's noticed you. Someone's probably turned around and poked Levy and said, "Listen, Levy, look at this. Look what they've done." No other channel's doing what you're doing, Will. No other channel has put Levy in the front, bro. And with Lamella, you can laugh a little bit, but with Levy and his pride and his ego, he must hate your guts so much right now. And I think to myself, you know what? The media manipulation, which is what I've observed. And I've been studying it for the last few months now, and hopefully, it looks like a few people on Twitter have figured out there's going to be a great reveal. Have you been speaking to people? So I think bringing out some of the stuff which I think really I have to bring it out in a more concise and organized manner. I want people to get educated on things they don't know. And I want to prove it with facts so that it's undeniable. And those that will listen will understand. And those that will not listen, they will never listen. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's a bit sad. Maybe they'll come around when the tide is moved. There was a great feeling that the ESL it couldn't be stopped. There was a great feeling that maybe it was good for us. And that seems to be constantly the case. There seems to be a carrot that's dangled that entices you to believe and to start thinking about that instead of concentrating on the core subject. These managers that we're going to get in, why do we need managers, right? When we've got people like Ryan Mason. What's so good about Ryan Mason? Well, Duncan Castle. He came out. He's involved with Dundee United, and behind the scenes, he's been he's a bit of a journalist. Check him out if you can. Duncan Castle. Go out there and check this man out. But he came out. He's got sources inside the Jose camp, and they told him in black and white terms, right? Two things. One is Jose wanted to concentrate all his eggs into the cup, right? And you could see it from the way he played the regular league games. He didn't give a muppet about that. He put players out there, rotated them, and so forth. But you could see that the players he put out there were the team that Levy gave him, and he didn't give him a choice. So he said, "Fine, I'm going to play you guys in these matches, but I'm saving my best players, and I'm going to make sure that they're absolutely in tip-top shape for the cup. And I've got a strategy to do Pep, because I've done Pep so many times. It's one of the self-fulfilling prophecies that Pep goes through. Oh no, I'm not going to face Jose again. Oh no, I'm going to lose. And it self-fulfills itself. No matter what team Jose puts out there, he does the dirty on Pep when it counts. So
For sure.
I reckon, and what Duncan Castle said was that the sources he had from the Jose camp was that they said, look, basically Levy did not want the cup. He wanted the league. When Poch was in charge and the fans were all jumping up and down saying, listen, we love the way the team plays. We're making other teams afraid of us. We're going 2 goals down, but we're coming back and beating them 4-2. We're no longer afraid. We're no longer doing Spursy. In the last 10 minutes, 9 times out of 10, we're going to score the goal, not you. So when he had that type of momentum, the fan base was saying, yes, concentrate on the cups, concentrate on the cups. And he was putting his B team out on the cups. And Jose said, Poch said many times, our focus is top 4. And he said it every season, our focus is top 4. Right? So here we are in a situation where we've got ourselves a lovely stadium and we've got ourselves a lovely cabinet case. And you would assume that Levy wanted that case to be filled with trophies. But instead, the word is, and this is through Duncan Castle and his insider knowledge, that Levy didn't care about the cup because it doesn't make him hardly any money, but a top 4 position makes him bucket loads of money, especially with international revenue, because more people will be attracted towards your club if you're a top 4 going into Euros, Champions League, than if you were to win this little cup that you could maybe get a pint of milk into. But the point is, our fans, in order for us to dream about glory in the past, we wouldn't mind just a little bit of pride in the present. To say, look, we've got a trophy. All these clubs like Hammers and so forth, they absolutely slag us off on a regular basis. We can finally turn around and say, look, we've got a trophy. We've got one. We don't care what you say. We've got one. And that's a turning point. You have a pride in your club. And what does he do? He turns around and says, right, I'm getting rid of Jose, because Jose, will you play players that will you take it seriously in the league as opposed to the cup? Jose said no. Point blank, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. So out you go. Ryan comes in now. Ryan said in the interview when he first got put in charge, that Levy phoned him and had a very, very long conversation. That would have been interesting to hear. So obviously he's emphasized to him that I want you to concentrate on league position. Get us 5th at least. And if you can get top 4, I'll give you the job. Right? Because if you look at the way Ryan speaks in the press conferences, the guy's an absolute expert at answering the questions. Absolute expert. I swear to God. You know what? Just based on his press conferences, I think you should give Ryan the job. He's that mature. Secondly, I've noticed in the Spurs channel, the ones on YouTube, the actual Spurs channel, they're putting out video after video of Ryan and his training methods. Yeah. And also Chris Powell. So that they're trying to get this love affair with the coaching team that's currently there. And they've been filtering out into the streams. You know what? He could be the man. He could be the man. He's one of our own. But then what does he do in the final? What does he do in the final? Yeah. Like we had chances to win that game. We literally had chances to win that game. But 2 shots, 1 on target. The reality is, no, we didn't. Man City was just crap at trying to finish us off. Right? And that's what it was. We brought on Musa Sissoko. He is to stand in one place, jump up in the air, let the ball hit his face, and there would be no goal. Instead, the guy moves away from it. Laporte comes in, bang, in the back of the net. No one can stop it. We lost the game. We lost the cup. So there was no emphasis by Ryan Mason to win that cup. The team selection he put out. Come on, everyone will tell you straight. That team selection, it made all the fan base jump up in the air, pull their hair out together in unison. Now, Ryan Mason's not that blind or stupid, right? The guy was a professional footballer. He's been a coach for a couple of years now. He's not completely dumb. I don't believe in any way he is. I think he's very, very clever, and I think he's very articulate. He needs maybe a few more years, but the point is he's following the script that Levy gave him. Levy said, I want league position, sod the cup. This is not a hypothesis, right? This is actual fact information coming out of the Jose camp. They said, listen, this is what happened. And if Levy didn't sack him because of that, if Jose had turned around and said, hey, you know what, I'll do what you say, he's going to find another excuse to sack to sack Jose. Because he's built up this narrative in the fan base to hate Jose. And the fan base has believed it. The media already hate Jose. They always have. They've been waiting for him to do one little slip up here and there, and they're willing to out him. Right? So anyway, this is long. I'd rather just say, hello, Brian, how are you, mate?
I'm very, very, very good, Mr. K. And hello, you kid. It's a pleasure to be on the screen with you, my man.
Pleasure to be with you too.
All good. How are you, Will, brother?
I'm good.
I'm doing.
You?
All good.
I'm doing good too.
Fantastic. Loving the t-shirt, my man. Loving the t-shirt. Like I said, you got an order coming in on Tuesday.
Thank you. But you gotta be careful though. I'm getting heat for it now.
Oh, you're joking.
No, it's
Why
true.
are you getting heat?
Apparently, I'm a Levy shill because I'm making a profit on the shirts that I'm not making a profit on.
Okay, so guys, listen. Lucky, okay, he's not making a profit, and even if he was, he's making great content, and he's doing something about something that we need to be doing. So I know for a fact he's not making anything out of it. So yeah, just be very proud and happy that Will is actually coming out and doing something. I have quite a few ideas.
It's just pussies behind screens.
As I call them, yeah, they're not keyboard
sorry,
warriors. Exactly.
I forgot the Yid kid was here. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. It's fine.
That's as I call them. Yeah, I mean, I'm just furious. It's like this man is giving me ammo for my Monday to Brian's rant about Levy, and I'm just sickened. And I am sickened, but I'm not shocked that we have become the most expensive Premier League ticket for when fans return to the stadium. This guy just has no ethics, no dignity. He's just I had to stop myself there because I almost said something I shouldn't have in front of the kid. He's not a very nice man. He's really not, and it's just ridiculous. And I'm just hoping the 15th there are thousands, tens of thousands of people.
Yep, for sure.
I even looked to fly home, but without my second vaccine, I just can't even get back into England. I was hoping as a UK citizen, maybe I might have a bit of rope to or leverage, but nope. But when I do come back, I will be protesting. And I've even said, even if I need to do like 2-3 days where I literally stay overnight outside the stadium and just protest non-stop, I will be doing it.
Brian, are you in the US?
No, I'm in Canada.
Oh, because there was this protest that's going to happen in the US that I heard of.
Yeah, I heard that as well. And believe me, if I could get over there, I'd be there. I really would.
I'll be there.
Well done, my man. Well done. Where is it in the States?
It's in Florida, in Miami.
Oh, I could do a bit of time in Miami. That would be lovely. But yeah, I just physically can't get there.
I'll be protesting for all the men that can go.
Exactly. I know Stel from Tottenham Away is going live to the stadium. I wish we could set one up in Canada. Who knows? Maybe it falls on Toronto Spurs to try and arrange it.
Sorry, Mr. K. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no. It's all right. I'm going to distract away from Jose because there's water underneath the bridge. And there's some people that are going to, see a nice side to him, and there's some people that are going to see a bad side to him. And we can't change that because that's individual personal preference. I'm not a Jose in or out. I'm a Spurs in. This is the badge which I love. It's the club which I want to do well in. and it doesn't matter to me which manager comes in, so long as they do well for the club. Right now, if we couldn't get Levy out, say for example, for 2 years, then I think the best man or the best men for our club would be either Ryan if he gets into top 4 because he's proven his mettle, or secondly Potter, because realistically you need a Levy man in there. You need a person in there that that can work with a squad, that can maybe tweak it with a few cheap players, that understands and respects the community and the fan base, because we need that too from the manager, and above all, someone that can work with Levy and is respectful towards the club board. Okay, so when you look at it from that point of view, both Ryan Mason and Harry Potter with his magic wand are probably the 2 best fits. Now you have the opposing side, which says, well, the fan base is hurt and they're feeling like, Levy's let them down, and they're thinking, okay, well, what can possibly satisfy that hurt? Well, if you bring in a big name, a Conte or a Sarri, then that might pacify those particular fan base as well. So it really comes to a flip of a coin right here, what Levy's going to do. But at the same time, Levy is going to be planning for players to coming in the summertime. So he has to kind of like match up the type of manager he's going to have with the type of players he's going to bring in. Because the fallacy has always been, right, for the last X amount of years, oh, these are Poch's players, oh, these are Jose's players, oh, these are, so-and-so manager's players. Most of the time, they're not. There's suggestions being made, but then they're being tempered by Levy and Hitching, right? According to their policy and their agenda, right? If we had an agenda to win the cup, then we wouldn't have started Winks. It's as simple as that. So that tells you that policy wasn't there. The emphasis and drive wasn't there, okay? The players, especially in central defense, have suddenly started to play. Now, who are these people? Well, there's Toby and Dyer. And let's face it, Dyer was always the darling of Jose anyway. And Toby's the best defender we have by a country mile, okay? But the one thing about Toby right here is that he can't play 2 games a week. Realistically, he can't. Because when he starts to do so, he lacks a little bit of energy. And some of the plays that you need the defensive unit to do is to distribute the ball, be confident on the ball, to run into the midfield and make that interception when they need to, when Højbjerg is somewhere else. Okay? So if you're losing that little bit of energy and you are that certain age and you've got certain injuries that you've been carrying for the last 3 years, then you're going to end up in Toby's position where you've got to be used as a stallion, but for 1 race a week. Okay? So I think being used now once a week, Toby's perfect. Dyer, it's a case of like he had not played a complete season in central defense before. He'd always been used in every other position except for central defense. Maybe he made a few appearances in central defense, but he wasn't groomed for it, even though when he came in, everyone said his best position is central defense. Okay? We used him in front of the defense many times, but his distribution of the ball for that position was terrible. His first touch is atrocious. But in terms of defensive duty, he's got all the hallmarks. He's big, he's strong, he's got an attitude, he's got a head that looks like it could like whack a few things. And on top of that, he's got the aggression. I mean, look at the way he jumped into the stands to protect his brother. He didn't give a monkeys. And that's what you want in the football pitch. You want someone to care. Okay, people can slag him off, but at the end of the day, what you can't deny is how much he cares. Okay, the guy said, guy's willing to put his ashes onto the lawn. I don't know, the rain will probably wash it away. It doesn't make any sense. But the point is this, at least he said it, And, the way I look at it is that we as fans, sometimes we get disappointed with players and we really, really feel badly about it. But realistically, those players are on the pitch because the board have decided that these players need to be on the pitch. Right? It's as simple as that. And we may turn around and disagree with what a particular manager does. But a manager like Ryan, for example, or any other manager, he wants to put players on the pitch that he trusts personally. Okay? So Ryan will put players on the pitch that he trusts. They will listen to him, and they will try their best to do what he asks them to do. Okay? So if you look at Aurier, for example, he's been buttered up so much by Ryan And look what he's doing with his opportunities, right? Aurier has proved this season that if you kind of encourage him the right way, he will give you 8 out of 10 throughout the season in terms of performances. And the two that you're missing, right? Yeah, it will be the ones where he loses the ball or whatever. But I think that's a collective measure. You know, that's a collective team effort. And Aurier gets highlighted because I've seen, like, for example, the game against Man United. He got picked on by the opposition. They deliberately pulled him out of the defensive position, and Cavani occupied where he was supposed to be. I watched it a number of times to make sure that I understood what type of tactics and plays Man United did on us in order for them to beat us. You know, so the way I look at it, Levy's not going to bring in Conte because Conte is just going to like rip him one. I can't see that happening. Gasperini, I'm not too sure his game is like. I don't know. I don't think he's really good enough fit. Pochetino, a lot of the fans, some of the fans would want him in. Some of the fans that love him say we don't want him getting abused by Levy again. So if he is going to come in, we want him to have a few trophies in his hands so he has some power with Levy. But I don't believe for 1 second Levy's going to change his tune. He's a leopard, as Brian said in the stream yesterday. He's a leopard that can't change his spots. You know, so. Expect Levy to do what Levy will do, and expect some of the fan base to suddenly be distracted enough to say, yeah, we're going to win this, we're going to win that next season, and he's going to bring in a few marquee players, which ain't really marquee, and, you know, we're going to end up in the same situation we were this season.
We're not going to win anything next season, or the season after, or the season after.
Scott Parker? Yeah.
We're not winning anything.
It doesn't look like, unless we change the board, we are absolutely 100% not going to win anything. And there's some people that might turn around and say that Duncan Castle may be like, you know, Jose's mouthpiece. Well, you know, I'm sorry, but there's certain Spurs channels, when they talk about Jose and when they talk about Levy, the pictures that they put up, I've seen those same pictures being distributed in certain other media outlets. They're exactly identical pictures. Right, I don't need to, like, you know, I'll present a case about it some other time, but it's like I don't fall for that anymore, and I understand that the fan base believe this, and I'm not going to shout at them because I love the fan base. I want the fan base to come together. I want them to educate me, and I want me to educate them. Whoever's an expert in financing, come forward and let us know what you think. Whoever's an expert in scouting, networks, and so on, come forward and you know, basically everyone come together and have a difference of opinion on some things, but don't be divided as a fan base. That's the number one thing. We have to all agree that Levy is the problem. If we don't agree upon that, if we're holding out in our hearts that Levy is not the problem, then we're that fickle fan base, and you know, nothing's going to change. We're every year, like Brian said, we're going to win diddly nothing.
Well, what you've got to add there, Mr. Ko, obviously, is if people were kind of undecisive about Levy and Levy out, and like I said, everyone has their own opinion. I'm very forthright with mine. Charging the most.
Sorry, Brian. I didn't quite. I don't 100% know what your position on Levy is. Exactly what is it? I wonder.
Do you know what? I think there's deaf and blind people that have seen and heard me and know my feeling on Daniel Levy. But it's. I mean, if there was anything to push it over the edge, it would be charging the fans the most to see their team at the end of the season. If anyone was. Agreed. Yeah, if anyone had any thought that he's how he has the right to do this, with still no apology for the Super League, still no apology for anything. He has absolutely no right, and I wouldn't be surprised if the security are told to not allow ENIC out or ENIC in banners into the stadium,
Brian,
which I hope will get overturned.
I don't understand what look, at the end of the day, was Levy not trying to bring in like lots of money for the club? Like, why should he apologize for that?
Why should he apologize? Because
for trying to bring in like lots and lots of money, guaranteeing the safety and security of Spurs as a club for the next foreseeable 25 years. I mean, surely
because none of it would have gone to the club, Mr. K. It would have gone to feed off the debt that would have been in Tottenham Hotspur's name. As soon as it would have been financial viable, as we've seen with transfer activity, we wouldn't have got the bigger slice that we need. Every single time we've been promised something, he lies. This is not, and also to not even have the audacity to speak to the fans about a huge, like all the clubs did this, but to categorically come out and state we're not doing this, and then do it behind people's back during a pandemic is nothing short of diabolical disgrace. And as Cody says, it's treason. It's treason. Yeah. If anyone can come forward to me and say, do you know what, this money was going to go to players, we were going to get the bigger and better players, then I will listen very, very hard to what you have to say, but then I will back it up with 20 years of facts, stats, and broken promises.
Now, if you look at the Yid kid, you're younger, from a younger generation, and you have a different perspective on what you're seeing. Obviously, we as like much older, supporters, we're set in our ways in terms of things that we've seen. You're younger. Like, what do you see about the current state of the club, and what do you believe in?
I see a board that is not trying to improve the club. They're not looking to the future. They're looking to their pockets. And if we don't change, we're not going to see any improvement in our club. We're not going to see any trophies. As Brian said, in years to come, we're not going to see any trophies. We're just becoming a joke with this board. All these Spursy jokes, all this. It's insane. We're a big club. We need to start acting like a big club. What I think is the board needs to change. I really haven't seen anything like this. Obviously, I haven't been supporting Tottenham for too long. Been supporting.
How long have you, Yid Kid? How long have you been supporting Spurs?
I've been supporting for like 4 years, but
so is that 3 or 4?
4.
Okay.
So I haven't seen too much of this, like football in general, but I've never seen something like this before, and something new to me. But as an American, in the sport of like sports in America, you never hear stuff like the board and all this. So it's kind of something new to me.
So Mr. K, I have to quickly say, I don't know if you would have seen, but I know Will would have seen it because it's in our Tottenham Away fan WhatsApp group. But there was actually an Instagram or a Twitter picture today where people are actually, again, making fun of us by actually having a picture of Harry Kane in a Norwich shirt, saying if Harry Kane had stayed at Norwich, he would have won 3 trophies by now. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
Brian, all my friends in East London, every single one of them, right? Yeah, not a single person I know in my friends base is like a Spurs fan except for me. The vast majority are Hammers fans, and they've got nothing better to do. Because trust me, they got nothing better to do. Even though they're 4th, right? Yeah, they don't go on about it. Honest to God, they don't try to rub into my face that they're 4th, because they got so much material of slagging off Spurs that they don't need to use that card. They actually don't believe they don't actually believe they're gonna be in top 4. So they're not even like saying, hey, you know what? They don't lord over it. Now, the interesting thing here, right? Yeah, is that Yid Kid, what do you think is gonna be able to bring the fan base together from your perspective? Because you're young, and you're gonna take over soon, right? Us old coaches, we're gonna be standing in the corner, still going on about Enoch for years to come. But you're younger and you got energy and to a certain degree, a lot of maturity and smart. Do you feel that the fan base need to come together, and what's preventing them from seeing the evilness that Levy is? What makes them keep believing that it's all Jose's fault? From your perspective, if you could bring the fans together, what type of suggestions would you make?
Well, first of all, thank you for all the compliments that you've given me of my maturity. I try to be as mature as I can. But what I think needs to happen, the protest, if a difference does happen, if Levy does leave the board after our protest, we'll be seeing that our support and our opinions matter. And if we see that, we're going to continue. I've seen a bunch of jokes about our protest, comparing it to the Arsenal protest and the Man U protest. And honestly, I don't know. We have a big fan base. We're just not using our voice as much as Man United fans and Arsenal fans. And us as a club, we don't win as much trophies as them. Man United is a club that wins trophies, and they're protesting like that, and we're protesting like how we are. and we don't win trophies at all. So I think we need to be protesting more. And if we do see a difference, we're gonna be more believable in our voice, and we like thinking that our opinion matters, and we'll start using our voice more, and that will bring the fan base together.
That's fantastic.
So you know what it is as well, Mr. K. You look at it, and the kid just talks about Manchester United, their protests, and Arsenal protests. These fans have protested like they have whilst winning trophies. Maybe FA Cups, maybe Europa. They are both tonight in a semi-final. Man U are pretty much guaranteed. They're both likely to be in a final by the end of this evening. They've been to finals regularly, whether it's against each other or whatever. Arsenal were in the Europa League final when we went to the Champions League final. They've won FA Cups. They won the FA Cup. Was it last season? It was last season, wasn't it? They won the FA Cup with Arteta. They've done it. Man U recently, Europa League, and they're still protesting like this. And Manchester United, regardless, back the manager. Whether it's been spent right or not, they spent billions. And then you look at it with Arsenal. They may not have spent billions, but they went and spent ridiculous money on Pepe. But what they did to stand by Arteta is they paid contracts off to get the deadwood out, to free up space so they could go and reinvest. Nothing here.
Yeah.
Nothing here. Let's all just carry on as normal. So, I mean, obviously what Man U did on Sunday went a bit above what it should have done, and there was violence, which obviously no one on Will's channel or any Tottenham channel condone. But it's showing their anger. They're showing their anger. And with the new stadium at Tottenham, I don't think it's physically possible to break in like Man U did. And I'm not suggesting we do, but you could see the level of anguish that they're having. And this is coming from a team that is the biggest club in the world. And
don't you think that's got to do? Don't you think that has mainly something to do with the type of attitude and the belief and the aggression level that the club as a whole has? It stems from like Ferguson days when, he was aggressive. He made the players aggressive. The fan base became aggressive. And they have this mentality, which is from top to bottom. If you look at our club, for example, apart from the few dissenting voices like yours over the few years, the vast majority have really never really been like that. They rather slag the players off. They rather slag off the manager. They rather turn around and say that the manager's the major problem. I'm not saying that they're right or wrong, but I'm just saying that this is basically what has been done. We don't have the pedigree we don't have the background to do the things that Manchester United fans are doing. And if you look at Arsenal fans, for example, they had to build up a head of steam in order for them to really get Wenger out. They had to get rid of their, the endearing thoughts. And, some of our fan base, they're kind of very, what can I say? They appreciate the big club label. They appreciate the security that the club has now. They appreciate the new stand and, the ground that it brings. They appreciate the fact that Lady Gaga is going to turn up and the NFL is going to turn up. And while all that's going on, they're going to watch a little bit of footy. That seems to be the aspiration of the central core base of the fan base. Because otherwise, if that wasn't, then they would have voiced a long time ago that the issues with the board, that the issues with the recruitment, they would have voiced a long time ago. They would have been up in arms when Poch wasn't back for 3 transfer windows. That's a year and a half after having the best defense in the league. No, like you said.
You're right on that, Mr. K. You are completely bang on the money. But what you've got to remember is Arsenal, Manchester United, whoever they have been run by, it doesn't matter. They expect and demand a certain, not even a style, a certain winning. Like they need to be in the finals. They need to be serial winners. Which Arsenal haven't won the Premier League since they went invincible. But in 1991, we were the first team to ever win the FA Cup 8 times. Arsenal are now number 1 with 14 in the time that we haven't won one. And that's 30 years. 30 years. And under ENIC, like I've said for the whole time, we now have a level of, I'm not talking about the fans, I'm talking about the club. There is a failure is accepted. Failure is acceptable as long as the money keeps coming in. There's that's all. It's a virus within the club and that's why it's only taken till now. Like the Yankee said, he's only been watching football or Tottenham religiously for like 4 years. So he saw the tail end of Poch and the Mourinho kind of era. So he's seen a team regularly in Champions League contention in the top 4, in a Champions League final, in a couple of semi-finals. That wonderful game against Ajax, which if you weren't a Spurs supporter before, you're like, oh my God, this is the drug I want. And he got to see Poch get us to a final. So in those 4 years, he has seen things that I have waited 41 years to see. Yeah. And I've had to go through this time and time again, especially under, listen, people always slate Sugar and really slate Alan Sugar. Now, what you got to remember, if it wasn't for Alan Sugar, there would be no Tottenham Hotspur. There would be no Mauricio Pochettino. There would be no Champions League final. There would be no, because of Alan Sugar. Yes, he made wrong decisions, but that man is the saviour of Tottenham Hotspur as a club.
No, I get that. I think you really have to go on.
What ENIC have done have literally just taken that blueprint, said we're going to build you a nice stadium, and then that's it. You always strengthen when you're at your strongest. And we've had 3 or 4 genuine opportunities to strengthen the club under ENIC. We're just needing a couple of players, not even big players, just a couple of players in a couple of positions. And we've gone for the freebies or the very, very cheap options. And we've fallen down. And now we are where we are. And there's the very, very sad, sorry state of affairs is every single day we wake up, check our phones as we do, and there's still no manager, or there's still no resolution to Harry Kane, or there's still no sorry from Daniel Levy, or there's still no, do you know what, as due to this pandemic and due to the charades I've tried to do behind the scenes, I'm going to reduce these tickets. It's the first time people have been back in over a year. This is a joyous occasion where fans can be together. I want to try and dilute some of the negativity that's going to be coming my way in full effect. How about I make it 50% admission? And how about I make the bar for one game free drinks? Not all you can drink kind of thing, because that would just be crazy. But a couple of drinks or soft drinks for kids free the whole game. Do something nice for once as a way of an apology or something. No one's going to buy it. No one's going to buy into your PR nonsense. Yeah. But offer something, an olive branch, something to show you care, which we know he doesn't, and still nothing. And I just hope when that Aston Villa game comes, it's 90 minutes of absolute protest at one man and one man only.
Expectations. I think if you look at the fan base and you look at the experience of the fan base for the last 10 to 20 years with the lack of silverware, when Arsenal Football Club, when AFTV went against Wenger, and they started to say, "Listen, we want you out," and he was more beloved by Arsenal than Poch was with us, for the fan base that was there. Okay, so for them to do that, and for them to do it, because they had success for a while, so therefore there was an expectation, and therefore there was a demand. And the fans came forward to demand that. We haven't had that expectation because we don't have that experience, that exposure to winning when it counts. It's so we don't have the pedigree to be able to shout out to, as fans to say, right, we want to win, and we're some of the fan base is quite happy to say we want to survive, we want to play in the top league. We want to play, and that seems to be it. We want to play with flair. We want to play with attacking intent. But there hasn't been a need to say, we want to win. There was a little bit of belief with Poch that we want to win, that we want him to win something before he left the club. We have an expectation that we want, Kane to win something before he leaves the club. But that expectation is not there. It's like that path doesn't exist, that build-up of the demand from the fan base. Because look, this is what I believe. I believe if you forget about the billionaires, I don't care about the power of the billionaires. I care about the fans. And I believe that without the fans, we have absolutely zero club. There would not be 180 million fans in the world right here if the 3 million fans in the United Kingdom decided, you know what, we're not supporting you anymore. We're going to start boycotting you. We're going to start blocking your coach. we're going to start going ENIC out on a regular basis, because we influence the fan base that is around the world, because they look at the fan base in the United Kingdom as the model fan base that they want to copy. You know, you got fans which in the United Kingdom, which are dressed from head to toe in Spurs, you know, with the scarves, hats, shirts, and they copy that wherever they are, right? So the way I look at it is that even though there's very few of us in the United Kingdom compared to the worldwide fans, we influence the worldwide fans. But I don't believe that we have a unified fan base, because I still to this day keep seeing comments, and you know, rightly so, because people need to speak what's in their heart, that you know, Jose was the major problem of why we didn't win anything. I mean, this man that's been decorated from left to right, top to bottom, everywhere he's gone, you know, he was the major problem, right? It wasn't nothing to do with Levy or Hitchin or the fact that we didn't invest when Poch was around. You know, it seems to me the fan base is split and firmly down the middle, and that's a lot of numbers, with, you know, oh, the players were crap. You know, this person was no good. They seem to constantly point at everything except where the root problem is. And that is primarily got to do with money, you know, and also that sort of like aggressive expectation of winning. We don't have the mentality for it. The players certainly don't have it, because when they get close to glory and winning, what do? Every time? I'm sorry, how many times have we seen it? We saw 2 finals where, you know, Kane wasn't ready to start. He could easily have come on in the second half in both of those finals, right? So why? So if we believe, and the suggestion is that Levy behind the scenes has been influencing like selections and saying, hey, you know what, it'd be a good idea if we put Kane out. Why? Because he's looking at how to sell things. He's looking at how to promote things. And obviously, if Kane starts in the final, then it helps the worldwide audience view Kane as the star. Whether they win or lose is a secondary matter, you know. Okay, you know what? I'm getting distracted by some of the comments there. Look, I don't know everything. Trust me, everyone listening out there, I don't know everything, okay? And I believe that basically Poch was responsible for his own downfall. Jose was responsible for his own downfall. They weren't helped by the players. They weren't helped by Levy. But at the end of the day, the responsibility has to lie with the manager. I'm pretty certain that's normally the case. It's been history that if the manager doesn't perform or get the team into the position, he is responsible. And when he fails, we generally will look at all the negative side and say, well, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. You know, and obviously with some love for the manager, we will turn a blind eye to some of the failings that he may have. Obviously, you know, there was not that much love by 50% of the fan base for Jose. We can blatantly see this because, you know, they're still going to see things in a certain way. Levy, for sure, you know, he's been behind the scenes all this time, and he's played it very, very carefully, where it looks like the manager's making all the decisions. Well, we know now that manager doesn't make any decisions when it comes to buying a player. You know, Jose, the manager that prides himself on a strong defense, gets rode on as a defender. You know, wow, Jose, you really proved your worth in choosing really good players to bring in, because you got rode on as part of your central defense. That doesn't seem to me
Jose's
a
fault.
priority. That you know, but my point is this: is that's just an example. And if you look back under Poch, you know, maybe we see the telltale signs of the same thing. And Poch is like, you know, being able to get more out of the players when he was around. He's built a certain ethos and tenacity. He got the training level much harder and higher. And these particular type of players, because they lack that final quality that, say, for example, Kane and Son have proved to have, they need to be driven that hard. And when they're driven that hard, they're able to perform at a consistently high, at a consistently good level. And that consistently good level is enough to break a lot of teams if you're consistent for 90 minutes. Because at some point or another, the opposition is going to turn off for a second, and bang, we got lightning fast attackers who will play the ball, like Ericsson, for example, pick a pass, boom, bang, in the back of the net, right? So that's how we've been able to get away with it in the past. Now, in the present, there seems to be so much politics involved in selection. I don't think Levy knows how to keep his fingers out of these pies. And he's going to bring in a manager, which, he's going to turn around and say, okay, I can take a back step a little bit, but he's not going to let go of everything. He's still going to be director of football. He's still going to be in charge of what type of players we get. He's still going to be in charge of, basically, he's going to say, listen, you need to play this player because we need his imaging rights to be, pumped across the world. We brought in Bergwijn. We didn't play him that much, but Bergwijn has an image to go with it. And it's an international image, right? He's young and upcoming, highly far, he's aggressive going forward. He's dynamic. He can put the ball in the back of the net, you think. But if he's not being played, he's not being exposed. These players are actually commodities that Levy uses to make money. And if you think of it from that point of view, it makes sense. Some of the selection procedures that have gone on recently. I think maybe, this report that came out by Duncan Castle that basically, Levy was interfering with the selection. And this is a chairman of a club who's renowned to be a top businessman, telling one of the most decorated managers on the planet how to play his team. I think that's the biggest piece of nonsense in the world.
But I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but does the fan base believe it, though?
I think they do.
Is that the fan base that we're looking at? Because all we're looking at is a mirror reflection of a fan base. How many of the fan base do we get? How many of the fans do we get coming into the comments that turn around and say the opposite to what everyone is talking about? How many do we get?
So I'll tell you one thing. Will Stewart actually said this, and I stand by him when he said this, and it was bang on true. You don't need to be a wise person or anyone to realise that Levy had a huge impact in the Carabao Cup because no manager in the world, I don't care how experienced you are or what coaching badges you have or you haven't got, takes Lucas Moura off in the second half against Man City. In no world whatsoever does a football manager take off the most proactive player, apart from obviously Lloris and Alderweireld and Eric, who had I always stand up for Eric when he has a bad game. I mean, a good game, because I'm one of the first to criticise him when he has a bad game. But Lucas Moura, we lost that Carabao Cup final the second Lucas Moura came off that pitch because there was no one trying to break the lines or break down play. And that Will was the very, very second that happened. He said, and I think a load of people were like, nah. He said, Levy's making these substitutions, and he's bang on the money. Bang on the money. And this is the thing, but what we need at the club is, if I had got Ryan Mason's job, I would have had my first press conference and I would just let rip at Levy. I may not have gone into too much stuff, but someone has to call him out in-house to try and get this message across. There needs to be someone in-house. It may cost them their job. And I understand Ryan Mason is kind of in a situation, obviously, the tragic injury he had, his career, and what he does in football is to provide for his family after not being able to finish his playing career. But someone in that club has got to grow some balls and come out and say something whilst they're still at the club. And that guy will go down as a hero to 99.9% of the Spurs fan base. It's obvious that Levy, why Dele Alli all of a sudden started playing when people have been demanding that he plays because of his market value going down. All of a sudden he's on the subs bench. All of a sudden he's getting us. If 100 people came onto Will's show right now or an hour before the starting lineup and said, name the starting lineup, I'd be amazed if more than 5% said Dele Alli starts. But here he is. He started.
Do you think, Brian, Brian and Will, and also the Yid kid, you saw Poch before he left. Poch started to come out into the press conferences before he was sacked, after the final, and even maybe a few bits and pieces before the final, where he looked like he was disgruntled. And in one of the press conferences, he literally turned around and said, I'm not the manager. Don't ask me. I'm just a coach.
Yep.
Right? Now, as soon as I heard that, in my heart, I said to myself, he's out. Why? Because he's going up against Levy directly. Yeah. Then he starts to bring out in the press conferences, well, you get a beautiful house, you got to put some nice furniture in there. He's going directly against Levy. So the way I look at it, regardless of whatever Levy says, we phone each other, we've gone out on holiday with each other as families and all the rest of it. At the end of the day, it seems to me that if you go against Levy, your days are numbered. Okay. And, if the things that Poch had done for the club, for him to have a bad first half of a season, there's not one single chairman in the country that would have, apart from maybe Abramovich, they would have allowed him. They would say, you know what? Even if we're out of the Champions League this season, you've done so much for the club, we're going to allow you to have a bad season. But unless there was an underlying issue where there were disagreements and people were Poch was being put off. So here's a person that we love and adore who's basically tried to tell the fan base, by the way, Levy's the problem. And he tried to tell us way back then. And before that even occurred, a season and a half without transferring one single player. It showed anyone with half a degree of intelligence whatsoever, or half a grain of intelligence, would realize, hold on a second, surely Poch needs some proper players to come in to strengthen the team. Why isn't Poch buying that? Why is he not getting that? And then the narrative would come out, oh, well, Poch thinks his squad is good enough and he doesn't need to make it, he's happy with it. No, that's a load of crock. There's not one single manager on the planet that would say, oh, you know what, I'm happy with these players for a season and a half, I'm not going to want anyone. That's just a load of crap. So the writing has been on the wall for some time, but we still got a fan base that hasn't quite fully converted over to the fact that Levy is as evil as, you've stated for years. The Yid kid is growing up. He's had 4 years of supporting this club. He's seen it go to glory, and now he's seeing it fall. And now, unfortunately, he's also seeing the politics which are going on. And now, with this season, with the amount of exposure and the amount of channels coming out who are constantly analyzing things in a proper way and calling things out because they need to be called out. I mean, I was one of those fellas that had rose-tinted glasses, and I thought Winks was a decent player. Okay? I mean, that's how I was. I had my own thoughts on Levy, but in terms of the players, I liked all the players, and I didn't really want to look at them in any bad way. That was the one thing I didn't like about Spurs fans when I used to be before. I used to think, hey, why are you being so bad against the players? You should be encouraging them. You should be wishing them well, year in, year out. Support your team. Whether they win or lose, they're your team. But then I came across David's channel, the Irish Hotspur. And if anyone's listening and you haven't come across the Irish Hotspur, please go check it out. Subscribe there. Smash a like on any of his videos. In fact, if you can smash a like on this video, it'd be really great. I mean,
there's only 33, or at least the last time I checked, there's only 33.
I think there's more than enough people there. Now, look, these streams right here that we're doing, we don't really have that many viewers. For example, Teletubbies.
Do what now?
Viewers that are watching this as there are Teletubbies, right? But we still got a disparity between those that are watching and those that are clicking on like. I mean, like is free, right? It's free. You can do it. Click, boom. So
whatever you just did to your audio, Mr. K, do that every time because it's like a million times better.
Basically, what happened is I had a call in the middle of my chat, and then I cancelled it because I switched over to the phone when it came to the headset rather than do it on my laptop. But my point is quite simple. I looked at the players with rose-tinted glasses, and I used to see the fan base really slagging off this player or that player for making mistakes. Is that what happened before? It was underwater. Oh,
yeah, like it sounded like you were talking like this most of the time, but now you're like crystal clear.
Oh my days, guys, let me know next time because I really didn't know.
It's like you're in the same room as me, my man. You sound as clear as goddamn day.
So whatever you did it next time. Like if you need somebody to call you before you go on stream.
I think before next week I might have to get myself a new microphone or something to fit onto my laptop. But yeah, cut a long story short. I used to see the fan base never directing their anger towards Levy or the board, ever. Right? I see that as a built-in mechanism that's currently still existing, regardless of whether our brain and our heart say something else. So I believe that the fan base is kind of split on this. We're going to get fans which are coming onto the stream and they don't click like, and yet like is free. You know, you're watching this, you know, we're putting our time out for it. Will is literally putting his effort and real time into it. You know, encourage the bloke, give him something free, click on a like. But we don't see that. So there's a section of the fan base that are watching
subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.
And obviously subscribe.
Because
but
like
they're watching
honestly,
this
I was shocked. My views, my 20,000 views that I've gotten so far, which we just crossed 20,000 today. Clap, 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 clap. 20,000 views.
Well done.
Only 29% of them are from subscribers. That means 70% of that 20,000 views is from people who don't subscribe. So hit that little red button at the bottom of the screen. That's free too.
Yeah, we don't like red.
You don't ever have to
Change it.
watch. You don't. You can put like mute channel. Don't even hit the notification button. And just hit the red button. Give us a shout. And the Yidked TYY, you're amazing. But all of those accounts, all of that work that you did, disappeared because YouTube doesn't like if you log in, if you subscribe to the same channel through like 10 accounts on the same device, it will YouTube will kill them. So,
Well, I don't know if you've noticed an increase in the likes.
yeah, that'll probably be the same way. When you do that with your own device, YouTube goes through and sees that it's come from the same device.
It's from different emails though.
Even if it's from different emails, because you're using it on the same device. So yeah, you'd have to have like 30 devices and do it from each one.
There you go. Everyone go out buy 30 iPads, 30 laptops, and just keep subscribing to all these great channels.
Yeah.
No, what
so like even if I like my own video, if I subscribe from my other accounts, it won't count.
But seriously, guys, basically, this is what I'm talking about here. I wanna talk to the people that are watching this stream that haven't subscribed and haven't liked yet this channel, and yet they're watching it, right? You may have a difference of opinion from us, but you're listening, right? And if you are, we want you to engage with us. Type something in the comments. We ain't going to badger you. We're not going to beat you up. We're not going to set Brian onto you, okay?
Only if Daniel Levy.
Differences of opinion. Okay, fair enough. Apart from Daniel Levy, has he made any appearances recently, Will?
Who?
It's like
Daniel
has
Levy?
he been around recently? Yeah, I don't know. Is he around?
Is he around?
You got him in the cupboard? Yeah, I don't know. Is he somewhere hidden underneath the table somewhere, watching this stream?
I'm busy making Will money on his In It Out shirt. What is your problem, Mr. Kid? Don't bother me right now.
So
Get out of here.
So this is basically my point, is that we can have differences of opinion, but as a fan base, we all love the club.
Well, you're trying to trigger me, but it's too early. It's too early. It's too early this time on this side of the pond.
I blame Mr. K.
Yeah, blame it on me.
And people in the comments too. This is just some business because this is the first stream that I've done with this new setup, and I know that the focus keeps jacking up, and I'm gonna try to fix that. But it wants to keep focusing on that tiger, that Korean tiger behind me, so I may have to move that scarf. See, like it keeps wanting to focus back there on the tiger. It thinks it's the face. I like it because I'm looking at your guys' screens. So like, you know, if I'm doing this, I'm not looking at the people that I'm talking to. I think it feels like I'm talking to you guys rather than talking to the audience. But if you don't like it, let me know.
Well, you just looked me dead in the eyes there. I could see the look. It's like literally you were. There you go. Those. Whoa, those are very, very powerful eyes. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we need to take a picture of those eyes looking at you and send them to Levy. If you don't sort yourself out soon, this is what I'm going to be looking at you every day. But yeah, the fan base, the audience that's looking right now at this particular stream, let us know if you can. If you haven't subbed and you haven't liked, put something in the comment and just let us know.
Yeah.
Just let us know that you're there, that you do exist, and not just little bots that Levy has created to troll Will. So
there we go. Love
Right.
that dude. Love that dude.
But yeah,
or
I think
give us
the
feedback, right? Like I'm not a
Yeah.
look. If you're not a, I gotta watch my language. If you're not a jerk about it, right? And you have comments or critiques about anything, the shirt, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay. Does anybody else know out where? Should I just sell? What? Paper towels with magic marker, Enoch out, duct tape to some T-shirts that are old, and then give those away? Like, do you want? I mean, go ahead, do that. But I mean, where else can you go and actually get stuff? I can take it off. I can look if the Spurs fan base doesn't want it, I'll take it off the site because honestly,
Don't take
I
it
don't
off
care.
the site. Do not
I'm
take
not
it off
making
the
any
site.
money on
No,
it,
no,
so
no.
I don't care.
Do not take it off the site. Whatever you do, listen.
we need.
As I've said, this message and you wearing that shirt right now is a huge part because we've gone so long waiting for this protest. We can't have it die down. We cannot have
Yep.
it die down. It needs to be in people's faces 24/7. And us YouTube channel creators or whatever you want to call us, YouTubers, whatever, have got a platform where we can keep it going. We may not be able to attract like the thousands upon thousands going to the protest or the 77,000 the mothership at We Are Tottenham TV have, but we have a place where we can reach people and just keeps pouring it out. And
Look,
this is
I
a
do
message.
this for the folks out there at home. I do this because I enjoy it, and I enjoy it because you folks who watch my streams regularly, the family that we have in the chat. I don't know if people remember this or not, but I can usually tell when there's a new person in the chat just by the name. So that means I'm remembering all of your names in the chat who chat regularly, right? I do this because I enjoy it because it seems like you guys enjoy it. And that's all the reason why I'm doing this, to be honest with you. If I make a buck at some point in time, it's only to pay for the thousands of dollars of equipment that I've bought because I'm a gear junkie. And two, to get to England, to get to a match and do all that stuff so I can make more content there. And three is to give you guys something to watch. That's it. Right?
Well,
I have a full-time job. I own my own business, several of them. And I don't need to do this. I'm doing this because I love the club. I love you guys out here in not only the Tottenham family, but also out there in the YouTube worlds for the people with the faceless faces that I've never met before. I'm doing this for you guys. I made this shirt so people could go get something to wear to the protests, right? To the matches when they open up the stadium. I mean, could you imagine if there was the white wall turned into a black wall of hashtag Enoch out shirt?
Yeah.
Right? The South Stand, the white wall that it's supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be our white wall.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that was filled with black Enoch out shirts? Because black isn't a club. Well, it might be a club color next season, but it's not a club color now. That's the reason why I chose black. I could have put white, and it would blend out. You couldn't have told the difference if whether it was an Enoch out shirt or if it was a Tottenham kit. You know what I mean? It's the reason why I chose black.
Will, you've done a lot of thinking behind this, a lot of thinking, but then you have that speciality of mind to think like this. And look, at the end of the day, if we want to go forward as a fan base, we have to start understanding the fans which are not on board with this. We need to look at the fans which are the silent majority that we don't hear about. We need to understand what's with them.
Well, you
What
won't
are
hear.
their
That's the thing,
concerns?
Mr. K. You won't hear because they
Well,
will stay
you know,
silent.
this
Listen, it's come to the point now where obviously
Mm.
I'll tell you now, I've been this way for over a decade, way over a decade. And what you got to
got
remember,
Mac.
people are now wanting to say, they don't want to say it because of the toxic nature that this has become. People don't want to come out and say, yeah, I love Levy. I think he's done wonders for the club. He's this, he's that. Because the fan base is so dead against it right now. They could, people come on to Will's show, my show, whatever. They could say what they want. If someone came up to me and said, I love Daniel Levy, he's the greatest thing ever, I'll sit down and listen. I won't say, oh, you're a moron, you're this, you're that, and turn it into a negative thing. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, whether I find it right or wrong, or the massive fan base. But it's getting to the point now where people don't want to say it because there's such a push now to get him out that it's not nice. I mean, even at the Carabao Cup final, there were fights in Tottenham pubs with Tottenham fans over this. So they're going to remain silent. But thankfully, the man himself keeps doing so many wrong things that he's going to bring them out anyway. We don't need to try.
Momentum.
We don't need to try and educate them. Daniel Levy's doing a good enough job of it by himself.
Yeah, I still think that as fans, we need to try to reach out to the rest of the fans, because if we don't get together, we're not going to create enough momentum. I mean, we're going to keep pushing, and momentum slowly going to build. But if you want effective change to be done quicker, then we need to start connecting with the fans, which, we need to reach out to the fans which don't come forward. And maybe they look at it from a point of view of it just being a sport, and they don't look at it from a political point of view. And maybe they don't like to push themselves into the limelight or be in front of something. And as far as they're concerned, it's only a game. But this is what we need to hear. This is what we need to know. We actually need to hear their voice. We need to understand their opinions, because that's the only way we're going to be able to find ways and words to bridge that gap. And then get them, if we can, convince them that this is a worthy cause, and this cause actually affects them. Because don't forget, if something is happening in the club and it personally affects you, that's when you personally will come forward. Okay? So by not knowing how the situation has been manipulated on the pitch by Levy, but if they don't know, if they can't connect that dot themselves, then if we fill them into that dots, then that's how they're going to find out, hey, hold on a second, I've been supporting this club for years, and this guy is actually trashing my team. I thought it was the manager. I thought it was the players. No, it's not. It's the guy in the center of the web. Yeah? And basically his head in the middle of a spider, 8 legs popping out, crawling across a web. That's an image I've got in my mind right now. Will, make it so. I think that's a good one. But look, do you understand my point? I mean, Yidkid, you've managed to get some people that you know to subscribe and like Will's channel. That means that they now have heard of the word Spurs. They may not be Spurs supporters themselves, I take it, but at least they've heard of it. And by this passion that we have, this protest that we want to do, this willingness to act is going to get us to connect to people even outside the Spurs family that have got nothing to do with Spurs directly. We do need support from other clubs. We need their stories too. We need their encouragement, because regardless of whether we're different clubs, we all love football. And you know what? When Spurs was hitting the height, there was a level of respect that was coming towards Spurs from opposition fans. And they were saying, you know what? Rather than a joke club, you've actually got my respect. So I believe that there is an element where, as fans, as much as we need to protest, as much as we need to boycott, as much as we need to send the message out to the sponsors, we also need to outreach work within the fan base that's not doing anything, and also the fan base the football fan base at large, because surely they want a Spurs team that's going to be competitive against theirs. So when they do win, there's a sense of achievement by them, as opposed to, oh, well, they knocked in 3 goals past us, but they were so Spursy, we scored 4 against them, rather than laughing at our club. Because trust me, it was so different under Poch. my Hammers friends were giving me respect. That was a unique feeling. It was such a weird feeling. And this is how other teams like in Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, this is how those fans feel when they're talking to opposition fans, or if they're talking to fans from different teams. They get that sort of communication being said to them with some form of respect. We don't get that. And that's been now taken away from us. And we had a taste of it. We had literally a taste of it. And, you know, this is what hurts us the most, is that we got so close, the nearly men. But it wasn't nearly. We'd actually crossed that line where we proved to people, fear us. We will come to your ground and we will knock 3-4 goals past you. You know, we put fear into them, and that fear made them respect us. Now there's no respect. It's gone back to, you know, it's a joke banter club, you know, and the Yid kid was saying that exact point earlier, you know. So I say that before we have glory, we have to have a sense of pride for our club. We have to have a sense of achievement, and all the past glory, all the history that this club has put together. We wouldn't be here today if that had not occurred before. That glory is now becoming a distant memory. We're no longer feeling it anymore. We can't taste it anymore. And that's what we want back in our mouths. We want that taste. We want that sense of pride in our heart. Because then when we believe we're going up against a team, we're genuinely behind the team. Even if they go a goal or two down, we're still behind them to go and attack. Right? Now it's a case of like we're going back to the old Spurs, where if we went down a goal, we start slagging off the players straight away. And if the fans are the 12th, you know, the 12th man, the players are feeling that. And, you know, it's not a way to encourage. You're not encouraging the players. You're actually actively making sure that they don't perform, because they'll go into a shell and they'll go into a further shell. And then you end up getting beaten on the last minute against nonsense teams, you know? So
yeah, but
I think
when you say that, you got to remember when it comes to footballers getting abused. Obviously, now with racial and the way it's getting, is completely unjustified whatsoever. But you got to remember, and it's been for years, that if you're big enough to give a player credit and you're earning this is part of the job. If you have a bad game or you have a bad performance or you've had a bad season, you get paid the big bucks, and you may have some chance set against you or some. I mean, I remember when I had my season ticket, my first one in 1994-95 season, we played Nottingham Forest in an FA Cup quarter-final replay, and Teddy Sheringham went up to take a free kick. And this was before Teddy Sheringham started taking free kicks, and he was appalling this season. And everyone stood up and was like, "Oh God, Teddy's going to take this free kick. Oh my God!" And everyone was going, "Oh, for God's sake!" And he just smashed it into the top corner. Everyone was like, "Hey, Teddy!" and then started singing the Teddy Sheringham song. This is part and parcel of football, and it's part and part. Now, I know I did the huge mental health show, and the abuse that they're getting nowadays is totally unjustified. Like I've only recently found out that Raheem Sterling was racially abused after the PSG game online, 48 hours after the blackout, and that is not warranted. But having your performances ridiculed or mentioned is part and parcel of being a footballer or any sportsman. And these players have to take it to a certain extent. Where it's got to now with the racial and maybe sexual or religious or whatever is totally not called for. But for having a bad game, they are damn right. The fans are well within their right to have their say. Well within their right to have their say. They spend hundreds of thousands of pounds every season traveling up and down the country, or paying for their Sky TV or BT, or over here our DAZN, or in the States NBC or whatever it is. So they have the right to have their feelings heard. It's just got to be in a non what's the correct word, disgusting manner about race or anything like that. But the players are totally justified the abuse they get, because we're all sing their names when they're doing good.
Well, you know, when you say that they deserve abuse, recently Alistair Gold tweeted out or retweeted or responded to a tweet where somebody turned around and said that Dyer was a poo-poo player And the word poo, spelt with a S-H-I-T, seems to be banned everywhere, including this chat. Because anyone who types that word out, I have to authorize that comment to come in. And even if you put an asterisk in it, YouTube is clever enough to know that you're trying to say that word. For some reason, they've outlawed that word. Now,
It's just the S word.
yeah, it is the S word, but
I'm just going for a cigarette, but I'm still here. Just turn the camera off.
Because if you put in
What
poo
that
player,
means-
they don't care. No,
that's my point. Is that it's basically, I think that because of the abuse that's online, these social media channels are going to start changing and tweaking a few of their algorithms to highlight certain words, and that are going to be, if put in certain context or just put by itself, are going to automatically be, no. And people like Alistair Gold, the number of comments that replied back to his tweet was, dude, the guy just said this. Like, he didn't even hear. So this perception that we have that these words are not that bad, maybe that's a false impression in our mind. Or alternatively, it just shows the state at which our players are so sensitive that anything will knock them, and that they're millionaires with very delicate skin. Or alternatively, we have normalized hate and abuse. Okay, so
Yeah.
I think to a certain, that's a different subject matter altogether. And
I think it's a
something
little
that
bit of
balance
both.
on the mental
To
health.
be honest, I think it's a little bit of all of that, right? People don't have as thick skin as they used to, and it's easier to be nasty to people all over the world now than it used to be. Right? Like, I could only, like, if I was an a-hole, I could only really be an a-hole to the people around me. You know what I mean? And then they could just either physically stop me or just disassociate themselves with me. But now, like even Twitter, like the thing on Twitter is this ridiculous, is like, I could post a picture, like I posted the picture of the stuff, and I've got trolls and stuff making comments on it, and I can't delete them. I can't get rid of them. I can block that person, but everybody else in the world can still see the troll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the hard part. Even though it's my tweet, I put it out there. And if I don't want somebody out there doing that, I can't do anything about it. At least Facebook, I can go in there and shut off comments for one single post, or, you know what I mean? Like,
I think if you think about it, it's like this. I think that if you do a stream and you're talking about Spurs players, if you had, say, for example, someone like the Yid Kid in your panel, then you'd watch what you say. There'd be a certain freedom of speaking that we do as adults. But if there was a kid in the stream, a kid in the panel, then we would hold back on some things that we would say. So we all appreciate that there are certain words which are not appropriate. Now, it could be 11 o'clock at night for you somewhere, but it could be 4 o'clock in the afternoon somewhere else in the world. And there might be some kid watching that. So
100%.
the way I look at it is that if we are going to call things out and we want to succeed and we want to, get the end result, we're going to have to like modulate a little bit of how we approach it and how we say it, because we will be up against this type of thing and we will end up being on the wrong side of it in reality. So sometimes it's not the message that you're doing, it's the way you're sending the message. So like, for example, you're protesting, but don't break and damage property.
100%.
Don't invade the ground, so to speak.
Don't break the law.
So that's it. So what is the law when it comes to criticism? This is what we have to start to identify.
Yeah.
No,
I think look, I'm a public person now. I'm a public person now, right? I'm a public person now. And like people say, I have to accept a certain level of trolling, right? Like I have to accept it. It's not great.
Yeah.
Some people get turned off by the fact that I call it out. I'm really only doing that for my own benefit, right? I have a platform here. I have a bully pulpit here. For instance, me being up here and picking on people in the comments is almost a form of bullying, because I have a bigger voice than they do here. Yeah, they can go off in comments, but I can block them or I can mute them. You know what I mean? And then I can just get hammer and hammer and hammer. So For me, I think it's a 50-50 shake. Right? Like this guy, I don't give out names, and I even with my trolls, I don't ever belittle them individually or personally. I might talk about what they say and tell them how they're wrong, or go stick Marcelo on them or something like that. But I can't get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to accept that. And now imagine if you're a footballer with 40 million, social media subscribers, you're gonna get. I mean, I'm a tiny little channel with not even 560 subs, and I already get. Like, I tweeted a tweet out on my Twitter that had less than 100 followers, or right around 100 followers, and that tweet has now reached over 10,000 people with me wearing this shirt. It's ridiculous. It's an absolute ridiculous thing. So, I mean, for me, it's like, I never expected that tweet would go viral. I mean, why is this a viral tweet? Because I was the first person to make a shirt for it? I mean, I don't even know. It's been retweeted 11 times. Like, at least Cody's one that went viral 16 times now. So, over 12,000 people have seen the tweet now. 830 have engaged with it.
Add one more.
It was funny though. It was funny.
Like, Cody's tweet was funny, right? So I understand why his went viral. Mine is just a dude, a bald dude with a beard, pointing at a shirt saying, "Hey, my shirt just came in. I'm going to be wearing it in all my streams now. If you want one too, here's where you can get it." That was it. And in less than 24 hours, 12,000 people have seen that tweet.
And I have to say, there's someone in the comments. I'm just going to change the subject. There's someone in your comments right now by the name of Abby, who has had some brilliant
reading that.
comments on there. And Abby, one thing I have
great.
to say,
He's always welcome. It's a he, actually.
oh, is it a he?
Right?
My apologies.
Abby, you're a he, right?
My apologies, but
Pretty
some
sure.
of them are brilliant. I just want to correct her or him on one thing, which is they say that he's one of the highest paid chairmen in the league. He's not one of them. He is the highest paid chairman in the league, and he's so self-obsessed that he even gave himself a bonus for getting the stadium completed, even though he said it would be in 1 year.
Oh, Abby is
and
a
it was done in
she.
2.
My apologies, Abby.
So it's a she. Okay, so I thought so. So Abby, your comments are fantastic, and like I said, he even gave himself a bonus for getting the stadium completed, even though he promised everyone it'd be 1 year. It would be 2 years, and in that year, he made himself the highest paid chairman and gave himself a huge bonus for a job that he promised 1 year and completed in 2, and apologized to the NFL fans before he apologized to us.
Well, no, because the only reason I say that there is another Abbey that's not about a name. It's like a place, like Abbey Road or something like that. Like it's talking about something else. And he's a guy, and I was called out by that Abbey. I'm a he. So
there you go. For the rest of your life, you're going to wonder with the name Abby, who am I speaking to?
yeah,
For the rest
well,
of
that's
your
the hard
life.
part about the comments is you never know what the person's name means and who or what they are. You know what I mean?
I think
She's been
nowadays
fantastic with
it
these
shouldn't
comments.
really matter.
Fantastic.
So nowadays it matters
I
even
think-
more, because if you call somebody a he when they're a she, you can get in big trouble.
Oh, not that.
In
What I
UK,
meant
you
is
can
it
go to
shouldn't
jail.
matter. Yeah. What I mean is, it shouldn't matter if it's a he or a she, or in between or it, as long as the points they're making are
Oh no,
constructed
100%.
together or try to. Yeah.
1000%.
And I think basically what Abby's highlighted is that the players should be able to, take constructive criticism. This is the whole point, which is that everyone has gone. I think some of the channels have gone a little bit OTT on the way that they present their constructive criticism, and people say, if you don't like something, turn it off. Yeah, but then somebody else is going to watch it and then mention it to that person. So we don't know how to express our dissatisfaction in the right direction, in the right way. We don't have the exposure or the experience in the past to have built up a track record for it. So obviously, when you first start saying it, you're going to start to get frustrated that people are not necessarily listening, or that they're deflecting, or that they're putting noise over the issue. or they're putting the blame, like I said, deflection, they're putting the blame somewhere else. It's not easy to navigate in these waters currently for a Spurs fan, because this is the new territory that we're going into. So that's really my point, is that because it's a new territory, we've got to start to, become a little bit more mature and responsible for the responsibility that we have in this generation of Spurs fans, that we're going to do something, which has been done once before with Sugar, but now we're up against somebody who's a lot more entrenched in not just the club, but with the fan base, the media. It's like I said, it was highlighted by the fact that there's a couple of pictures that got distributed of Levy with a nice, pleasant smile, and then there was pictures of Jose that were constantly being put around of him, looking like he just had a bad fart or something. So, and at the same time, I think the money issue, the worry, gets some fans. But like I said, we have to become responsible. We have to try to bring the fan base together. Otherwise, we're not going to succeed in the long run. We have to start reaching out to these people. And maybe the language that we use is inappropriate in order for us to make those bridge, to make that gap. I mean, I'll give you an example. Alex, that was in the Irish Hotspur stream, and he was talking about Winks and said that he was a decent player. Some of the comments that came into the chat were a little bit OTT. I even had to put some disclaimers in there and say, please, come on, everyone, let's not abuse people. Let's say things fairly. And that's just one person. So if you're watching that stream and you had the same opinion, you say, you know what, I'm not typing anything in there. If I do, I'm going to get treated like crap. Now, I know how this feels, because in the past, I would try to point something out about Levy and I would get hammered in the comments. And I stopped going into the comments. I stopped going into Facebook. My brief experience was so bad that I retreated from that. So I can understand from the opposite view that how someone else will feel. They may not have the information that we do. They will be looking at the manager or the players and saying they're the big problem. They won't be seeing the fact that we know a little bit more about the ins and outs of our club, and that we know that all roads lead to Levy. And this is what has to be abundantly made clear to everybody. But first of all, we need to reach out to these fans out there and bring them in, hear their views, and at the same time, understand their view, where they're coming from. And then once we understand that, we can then build a little bridge that will bring them to us. Because not everybody out there, a lot of the fans which are disgruntled about this, they're good fans. They're not the type of fans to jump up and down about absolutely nothing. They're passionate about their club. They love their club. And they're showing it. That's why we're going to go protest on the 15th. And any of you guys listening, if you're in London and you're not doing much on the 15th, please come down and support this club.
What are your guys' thoughts about that?
Love.
And, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit concerned.
In what way?
Yeah, well, you're concerned all the time.
I'm concerned that it's going to be a flop.
Do you know what? For the first time ever, I'm not. That's the one thing I'm not concerned about.
Yeah.
Spurs fans have had I've been concerned that there was nothing against Sheffield United. I'm concerned there's nothing still planned for other home games, but I'm here believing in the Spurs faithful and the thousands upon thousands.
I don't know, the division that I've seen on social media, dude, is super surprising.
I honestly think it's going to be big. I don't want to say like huge, humongous 20, 10, whatever thousand, but I reckon there's going to be a minimum of 5,000.
I hope so.
Minimum.
Well,
and then obviously it all depends what happens. It also depends what happens on the actual day. I mean, the Aston Villa game, as Ben and Simeon were saying on We Are Tottenham TV this morning, the fact that it's going to be balloted and it's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, when a lot of people back home work a 9 to 5 or 9 to 5:30, it's an awful time. But I actually think that it's going to be big. I really do have a feeling that this time they're going to be out in full force. I really believe so.
Well, Will, you know, you're reflecting something that's real, which is your perception from what you've gathered from the media and social media.
Not really the media.
So
I don't
that's
really
why-
watch the media that much. The only thing I really watch is YouTube now. I honestly, I should probably stop
Yeah.
paying for Fubo TV because I just don't even watch it anymore.
I'm the same. Well, that's my point, though, is that I believe that there is, because Levy's been in charge for so long, I believe that there's an entrenched, in order for him to get away with things that he's been able to get away with every single year, I think he's got his fingers in a lot of pies when it comes to the media, especially social media. I mean, some of the Spurs channels that have been created recently, they're like breakaway channels. But I can understand your point. But over here in London, like anyone that wants to voice something about Spurs has blatantly said, we want to get rid of Levy. No one has actually come out forward. I don't hear no one's voice coming out in social media, in YouTube, that is saying the opposite. Are they afraid to voice that? Do they expect themselves to get trodden upon? Because let's face it, if you're worried, you're worried about the numbers that are involved in this, that you're not seeing the numbers that you'd like to see. But what Brian is trying to say is that he has a feeling and a sense that he's gathered that he has not felt for years from the fan base. And he can feel it in his heart that change has finally begun. Me too. I've never gone on a protest in my life. Trust me. Even when they were attacking Iraq, I didn't go on protest. Right? So for me, it's a case of like, I'm willing to do it for this. And the opportunity has arisen. I've taken time off from work. I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. You understand? I don't even know what time I'm supposed to get there. Right? But I've made arrangements to have the time off so that I can go there. You know, I'll find some people with banners. I'll say, okay, that's where I'm supposed to be. So there isn't for people like myself, it's not organized. It's more of a case of a feeling that we feel enough's enough, and we're willing to step out. I'm not the type of aggressive person to go out there, but if there are more people like me out there, then they too will turn up. And as Brian said,
I want
he has a
everyone to
feeling.
turn up. I want everyone to turn up. But right now, to be honest with you, I'm concerned. I'm scared about it. And it may be an undue concern. But after the first one and the second one,
Yeah.
and then the no protest at Southampton or Sheffield United.
Yeah. I mean, what you saw was a classic distraction and deflection and noise about other matters to try to distract the fan base, to get them to go back to their comfortable zone of just moaning about things, but not actually doing something. I get that. And I see that. And I think basically what's happening now is that the people that are feeling something, they're not letting go of this. They say, yeah, you can distract us with this manager search. You can distract us with, oh, we're going to get top 4 or not. You can distract us with the fact, oh, did you play Winks in the final? Oh, all of a sudden the team is like being successful, barely suddenly starting to score things. Are we going to get Bale back next season? Is Kane going to go to Manchester United? And so on and so on. And like there seems to be so many things that we can talk about, apart from the one that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
Right?
but I think we
And
need
that
to put
is-
a sense of urgency into people too, because I don't want people to go be like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a big event, so I don't need to be there." No, you do need to be there. If you can get there, get there. Don't
what
think
I
that
would-
somebody else is going to do your job for you.
What
my
I would
point.
say on that, first of all, Mike Pepper, thank you very, very much indeed.
100%.
Because trust me, if I could get back, I would. I wouldn't have even cared about the expense. It would be just to be there. Now, with Mr. K saying, I don't know what time to be there. I don't know when I should go. Listen, what all Spurs fans, if I was there, I'd be there from 9 a.m. But that's just me. I don't care if I'm there by
Done.
myself. Now, obviously, a lot of people will have maybe family commitments or whatever. For me, it doesn't. There shouldn't even be a set time. It should be whenever you can get down there and stay for as long as you can. Whether it's from 9 till 9 in the evening, whether it's you get there for an hour before kickoff and stay throughout the game. We just need as many people to be there for as long as possible. Whether it be 10 people at 9 a.m. and 3,000 at 12 a.m. PM. Sorry. it makes no difference. Everyone is going to be heard. Sky are going to be there, or BT. The cameras are going to be there. The longer this goes on, and the longer of the duration, the more coverage it's going to get on definitely Sky Sports News, and maybe Sky News or other BBC or whatever it may be. So even if you, like they say, even with when people do, like we have back home, Children in Need and Comic Relief and Sport Relief, which basically are telethons that we have back in England, Will, and all the American and Canadian people that go on from like Friday evening to the early hours of Saturday morning. They even say, if you can only donate £1, £1 is better than donating nothing. And that's the same with length of stay for this protest. Whether you go down for 10 minutes or 2 hours or 5 hours, it does not matter how many of you are there or how long you are there for. Every single fan that is there will make a contribution to this. Every single one of them. And that's the way it's got to be looked at. Don't wait for the supporters trust to say, oh, we're meeting at this time in this area. They are the governing body, but we, the fans, want our club back. And you, the fans, go whenever you can for however long you can and make your feelings heard to get these people out.
And you know, for the people that are viewing this, because Will's channel is quite an international channel, I can imagine that 3/4 of the people that were viewing this are probably from overseas, and probably wondering, well, I can't go to
not quite. Only about
maybe
60%.
Okay, there you go. 60% are from overseas, and you're probably wondering, I can't protest. I'm not going to be there. I'm in a different country. Rao is saying, look, I'm in India. And what you guys can do, all of you guys that are listening, if you want to contribute towards Levy to be kicked out, right? Anything you type at any time, at the end of it, just put hashtag ENIC out, like I've just done now.
I can put this in an image and share it to Twitter, and then people can put that as their circle.
So anytime, so Rao, if you type anything, right? If Murray, if you type anything anywhere in social media, anytime, so you say, you know, hi guys, how you doing? And then at the end of it, say hashtag ENIC out. You go into any website, even if it's nothing to do with football, at the end of anything that you type, just type hashtag ENIC out. Everything you type out hashtag ENIC out.
Maybe it's just because I'm an American. Maybe it's just because I'm an American, and so I look like an easy target. I'm telling you, I find them. You may have not seen the other side, the other half of that fan group, Mr. K. I find them for some reason, or they find me.
I heard that Peter Moore was a typo. What his?
Oh, he's put it in 3 times now, 4 times.
What ENIC not out? ENIC, I can't say the word.
ENIC in. That's fine. Look, that's fine. No, listen. We want people to express themselves, and look. The more word ENIC gets used, whether it's in or out, it makes noise, and we want noise to continue. So all of you guys, whether it's Ali or anyone else, whether in Ireland, India, but anywhere around the world, right? Anytime you go anywhere on the internet, at the end of every sentence, just write the word ENIC out. And if you like ENIC to be in, then you can type in ENIC in, right? Do it. The main thing is that we're talking about it. In out, Levy out.
We don't need to block. We don't need to block. It's just Peter. Hit the link and join the show, unless the link has disappeared because there's so much chat and I put it in a long time ago. If you have a different opinion, come on and talk to us about it, Peter. I'll send you a link and you can join the show. And I won't bully you. I promise. And that's the thing.
Same here.
No, we're not like that.
I want to add. I'm seriously, and this is the thing. I want those people who disagree with me or have a problem or think that I'm a sellout or whatever issue you have with super nice and well-mannered Will Stewart. Come on my show and talk to me about it. What show is not available for people to come on? Cody's, the Bald and Beard and Tottenham Boys show. That's the only one right now that doesn't accept guests. Right, this one is an hour of me talking head answering questions. Although today it was 45 minutes of me griping about trolls, and then the second half is bringing people on. So I didn't answer many questions. be honest.
Yeah, that kind of went by the by the by.
But that's what it's normally is, right?
I
Look,
think people are
it's
forgetting
good
as
to
well.
hear-
One of the things that have got to happen as well is, and I think you said it yourself.
You have got. So does that mean like our club or our
15
side?
Spurs fans protest tells you how
I'm
much.
on the show, Peter. You want me to throw the?
I don't even think he's the way he's written that.
Probably not
I don't
Spurs
even
fans,
think
but
he's a
it sounds
Spurs fan.
Well, no,
Exactly.
he did write the word "come on your Spurs."
He said, "Come on, your Spurs," but
So yeah.
Look, how
so
many
anyone
people
can
would
write that?
dare to
Anyone
utter
can
that?
write that.
No,
But yeah,
the point
what
is
you
you go
got
that
here.
so far,
Come on, and have your say, my man. You don't
and
need a
Will,
camera.
Well, was it you that said as well? I think it was you that said it's going to be easier to get Levy out first, and
Yeah.
then go for Enoch. So even
Yeah.
if that's, I mean, I'm on board with. Obviously, I want all of them out, but if we have to get one out first, it's straight up Daniel Levy. Straight up Daniel Levy. So yeah. But we've got to do what we can. On that note, I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm gonna have to go. But thank you, Will, for having me on the show once again. I was getting withdrawal symptoms after not coming on the weekend.
You're always
on the show.
welcome, Brian.
I know that, brother. And Mr. K, I will speak to you soon, no doubt. And you, kid, as I said, pleasure meeting you, my friend. And I hope to see you on Tottenham Away. And anyone come over to Tottenham Away and feel free to join us whenever you want as well, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
Yud
so
Kid.
Peter Moore says he's been his first fan since 1970. So
Okay.
you got a
stand
different
corrected.
opinion, and that's okay, Peter. Well, I don't agree. I don't think your opinion's okay, but I mean, it's okay that you have your own opinion.
Yes, I second that. And like I said, everyone watching the show, like, subscribe to Will. If you want to see more of me or more of my rants, is what I'm getting known for, find me at Tottenham Away. But most importantly, this is all about Will and his channel. So everyone smash that like and subscribe. And guys, I will bid you a good afternoon and good evening to Mr. K.
Adieu.
Bye bye.
Levy, I want to say bye.
Annually doesn't want to say bye.
Look,
Before I bring, I have
Look,
one.
this
I
is-
have Eugene in the back, but before I do that, I got one announcement here. Why there's still a decent number of people here. Starting officially next Wednesday in 6 a.m. have Morning THFC with Cody Mack. He'll be doing his own morning show every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern time. Moving forward, this is the official channel announcement for that channel. So if you guys love Cody Mack, my bearded face will not be on this one. This will be just Cody's show. And that'll be starting soon. So if you want Cody to pop out of your teacup in the morning, watch the show. Watch the show.
and people in the comments, one of the things about Will's channel is that everyone gets to say things without people being abusive to them. You know, that's one of the good things about this channel. Even though we have a rants, we basically rant about how we feel, but what we don't do is we don't abuse other people. We like to hear their opinion. We like to air their opinion because people can make up their own mind what they are learning from the experience of coming onto the show and watching this show. Okay.
I agree.
So-
If they come on, like, so if you come
Yes,
on screen, that's the rule, right? If you come on screen, that's the rule. If you don't come on screen, but you're in the comments and you're just like, I don't think Peter's being that way. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But there have been times when people have been blocked, banned, or you know, whatever. For instance, like the yank and the yid and all those comments. That guy was been blocked, right? So
No, but Peter's made a very valid point, which is from his perception, he says, why be like Arsenal? Now, obviously, before this ESL came out, right, there was no way in a million years I want to be associated with the Gooner, right? There's no way I would agree with the Gooner about anything.
sure.
Right. But when ESL came out, suddenly Spurs fans, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans are agreeing with each other. Hammers fans are agreeing with it, even though they're not part of
And
the top
why
six.
he
But
does
they're
ask the
agreeing with each
question.
other.
Peter, he asks Peter, he says, why be like Arsenal? But just to make things clear, our first protest was way before Arsenal's, right? So how is us protesting being like Arsenal? This will technically be our third protest. Ben protested the day that it was announced. There's only like 4 of them down at the training ground. Then they had the one that was like probably 200-300 people, right? Then Chelsea did theirs. Then Arsenal did theirs. Then Man United did theirs, and we're doing it again. So we were the first ones to go protest outside. Our club was the first club out of those big 6 joining the ESL to protest outside the stadium. Just to make just for the record. So, but yeah.
Look,
we're not being like someone else.
Yeah. I don't think. I think it's very difficult to converse with people who are just writing a comment or two.
That's why they can hit the link and jump on the show. The invitation's there for anybody. If they refuse to do that, that's their own choice. But I'm going to answer the questions how they place them.
That's true, 100%. Peter, if you get an opportunity in the future, and you're on this stream or any one of the streams, which are the rant streams, and you're able to get online, honestly, come on. Because there may be other fans that are like you, that have the same belief that you have, and you could voice what they're feeling. Because we've got to that stage now where
but I've got prime examples of this happening. We had Victor HM who we used to get in arguments in David's channel all the time. We had Dietrich Kane and I used to get in arguments over Lamella all the time. They both came on the stream, and now they're 2 of my favorite people ever.
Yeah. That's
so
how
I mean,
happens.
This is because they were willing to come on and talk to me about it, and then we were able to talk like men. Because that's the thing, in the keyboard, you don't get context. You don't. Yeah. It's easier to not show empathy or respect to another person when you're looking at words on a page rather than a face or a voice like Mr. K. You know what I mean? There's the personality, and I don't mean personality like your personality, but the personalness of it, that's even a word, is gone, is removed. And that's why I think that's why social media is so vitriol. It's because you don't see the personhood of the person like you do when you're talking to somebody face to face, whether you agree with him or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's what makes the
this is what
context there.
This is what I think to myself, that maybe some of the fans, this is the level at which they can interact with, and it's so difficult when you're typing a sentence or two to really get your point across. And sometimes you're misinformed, and sometimes you're well informed, but you may be missing one small piece that's going to make you come across the line. 10 years ago, when the Super League was first being proposed, the idea was that there was a top 5 that was going to come from England. Okay, that was 10 years ago. Spurs wasn't even in the conversation. Since then, Spurs have regularly, for a number of years, come in the top 4, Champions League, got to a final.
You're good,
a
Peter.
Great attacking style, pressing style of game. The team itself, the Spurs brand itself, has gone worldwide. No. I agree with you, Peter. You're not hating in any way. But what I'm saying is that we weren't in the conversation, but Levy knew about the Super League. He'd gone behind the scenes and had conversations with them 10 years ago, right? And he was agreeing that we needed to ditch the format of the pyramid of football, where people go up and people go down through virtue of merit, and said, we want to be a part of an exclusive rich club where we don't care about the merits of football. We just care about the money that is going to be guaranteed to come in, which I can give to the shareholders and make them rich. And himself owning 30% of ENIC, that basically made it a self-serving situation. So he's done some wonderful things. He's wonderfully great at building up the club. We're lucky as fans to have had someone like Levy to come in on the business side. But the problem has been his football sense has always let our club down when it comes to success on the pitch. His purchasing policy, when it comes to choosing players, you know, he's the one that's been deciding. The message that's been propagated to the media through social media or through the general media as a whole has been that the manager's choosing this or the manager's choosing that. We know for a fact that Levy has been interfering in that process for the last 10 years for the sole purpose of making the club rich enough in order for him to get into a top 6 as opposed to a top 5. Okay? That was the main issue, that over the last 10 years, we were never ever given the chance to win any type of silverware because the policy of Levy for the last 10 years has been to get us rich enough to put us into a super league. And that's all he cared about. It's been proven time and time again. Now, if you people do not know this, if you watch YouTube and Spurs channels over the next few months, there will be more content coming out, which is going to start to explore this and more information coming out that you weren't aware of. That's going to highlight and point out this consistent policy that Levy has had. We talk about glory, glory, but at the end of the day, that's not in the policy. His version of glory is making a rich club. His version of glory has nothing to do with the desire of the fan base to say that we want to have some pride when we face an opposition fan. And we can have pride by winning something. That's the only way to have pride, is to win something. Once you have the pride in your club at winning something, then the glory can come again. We had glory in the past. We would like to have glory in the future. And the vision that's been sold to us is that we are making the club rich and worldwide and building a stadium and building training facilities so that we can have glory in the future. Well, I'm sorry, that I don't buy that, because all that policy has done is make the shareholders extremely rich, so that a $23 million investment, which was then put into 60 million altogether, is going to give a dividend of 2.5 billion. Now think about that for a second. Compare 60 million to 2.5 billion, but it doesn't go in our pocket, it goes in their pocket. And it's a self-serving policy. Because if at any time they wanted to invest, because investment means you pull out money from your pocket that you have accumulated from wherever you got it from. And if you got that money from the club, it's still in your pocket. You invest into the squad, you buy some top class players for the manager. When he needs it, you do not lose momentum. You strike while the iron's hot. If you look at a football pitch, sometimes we've lost games because we lost momentum and the opposition has gained the momentum. This momentum word is valid in so many different factors of life, including business, right? So Levy has struck the iron while it's hot to get himself into a top 6 in order for him to gain into the Super League. Did we merit being in the Super League in terms of our football prowess? And the answer is no, we did not. We most definitely did not. Did Arsenal deserve through merit to be as classified as a top 6 club going into the Super League for the performance of what they've done in the last 10 years? And the answer is
no, they've been worse than us.
They most certainly have not. And here's the gist of it. The only merit that we have above Arsenal and Spurs in the last 10 years in order for us to get into this Super League has been the wealth of the club, not the wealth of the fans, not the welfare of anything else other than how rich is the club. But that richness
it has
of the
to
club
do with the
doesn't
number
belong
of
to us.
internet. It has to do with the fan base size. That's why these clubs were selected. It's based on their international supporters.
Now, just to let everyone know, Lukman, who's just arrived into the chat. Lukman, how long have you been a Spurs supporter?
40 over years.
Is he around? Sorry, how long?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Eugene.
I can hear you now. Eugene.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
I've been a fan for 40 over years. But the sad part is that it's like we're in an abusive relationship with the club. You get beaten and you keep going back. So somehow or another, like you said now, it's quite surprised that the fan base it's not united, and that is quite sad, right? And like it's very true, like what you guys are saying. We need to sit down together and see what our objectives are. I mean, it could be like 50% out of the fan base are not sure whether they want me out or me in. So we have to get ourselves right first before we can do anything to them, right? Because if we want to have a result in the end of the day, and we have to get together and constructively come to a plan, right? Like now, protest, yes, that's one plan. But like Will's been saying, there's so much confusion out there. 15, 16, another day, the time. So that's part of the fans that what they can do in the UK. Like fans, like for us in where I come from, like Southeast Asia or Malaysia, I'm not sure how strong the feeling is against ENIC on this side of the border, right? And like the rest of Asia, or you can go down, let's say India, South Korea, right? And if we can get all these fans together internationally, then we can have a big voice. Like you're saying,
See, I think that's the problem, and that's what I was saying when this whole ESL thing was going on, and I got a lot of heat for it. People out there and then other fans. It's because we need to. I was saying that the UK fan base isn't big enough to affect the kind of change that we want to have, and we have to unite the world fans instead of slating the foreign fans. Because British fans are so quick to throw foreign fans under the bus. It's the Americans' fault. It's the Chinese fans' fault. It's all our fault.
But they should understand that actually, if the Asian fans get together, right, 100%. We might hold the key to all this. Imagine AIA is the brand in Malaysia, right? If I can gather 100,000 signatures and send it to AIA, and tell them, I'm not buying insurance because I want it out. Imagine that.
Do it.
You see?
Do it.
Yeah, but
let's do it.
Yeah, I need to find. I need to find the fan base here.
There's an AIA building in Wewang, Korea. There's also AIA insurance buildings all over Korea.
Yeah, so
do
the AIA protest.
Okay, Eugene, can I ask? You've been a fan for 40 years, right? So you can relate with some of the fans which have been, supporting the club for a very long time here in the UK as well. Now, some of those fans, like for example, I believe maybe Peter Moore is amongst them, where there's a sense that Levy has done a lot of good things for the club, and we as fans, we're not grateful for the good things that he's done. How would you answer that particular question in the context of what's been happening over the last few years, and especially what's been happening over the last few weeks?
Okay, to say that being ungrateful for what Levy has done, of course, there will be fans that are grateful. I mean, I'm grateful to a certain extent that, of course, you built you built the business side so well. But like you say, what about the cup side, the football side? We've been missing that. I mean, you're talking about what? Since 2008, one cup is 13 years. And if you ran a company and had losses for 13 years down the line, financially, you wouldn't be there anymore. But the problem is that he's done such a good job financially, right? It covers off everything else. It's like box versus, you're just covering over the tax over and over and over again. But when this EFL thing happened and they got pushed back by the fans, that shows that fans do have the power. But like you say, like I've been saying, in my heart, I understand what Levy feels. He's he's very, very pissed off, right? The money that is lost and all that, right? And maybe I was telling Will the other day, maybe we sold the League Cup to City. The way that the substitutions were made, the team was picked, right? But of course, there's another conspiracy theory thing and all that. But like what you're saying with the Jose thing, that he was on the cup but not the league, and that maybe got Jose out too. But like I was saying, if he's there still, and I think he still will be, then drastic measures have to be taken. We have to get together, set a plan. Okay, are we willing to take the pain to get Levy out and even get relegated to get Levy out? Are we willing to take the pain, like stop every home match until the league bans us or deducts our points and all that and kick us out or something like that, right? So what are the fans willing to sacrifice to get Levy out? So I think a lot of us
I hear
will
you.
say that,
I hear you, and this is important. This is important, but we are headed up. I've only got 10 minutes left on the stream. Normally these streams aren't 3 hours, but I let it go this long simply for the fact that the first 45 minutes I just griped about some guy on Twitter. So I feel like I owed the people a good amount of time. But I want to bring in the Ye Kid a little bit because he's been in the chat a couple times, especially for the later shows when he should have been in bed. And do you play football, man, or what? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Can't hear you, dude. You're muted, I think, or you're. Oh no, can't hear you.
Nope, can't hear you still.
You're still muted. Your mic's got to mute. There you go. Yep, I can hear you.
It was the headphones. Throw them off. I play football for a team in.
No names, no locations. Just say, yeah, I play team.
I dream to win the Champions League for Tottenham.
Good deal, man. That's your vision.
Yeah.
And you're what, 12, 13?
13.
You're the same age as my son. So you're an 07?
Yeah.
So you're same age as Paul, my oldest boy Paul. So you guys, maybe play each other someday. That we probably have, to be honest with you. Would be surprised. But
maybe we play with each other when we become professionals and play for Tottenham.
Yeah,
that's
very much can happen. Good. And he's also a Juventus fan as well. Who's your favorite player for Juventus?
Oh, that Juventus jersey is just there because I went to Turin and I got lucky, and I found Paulo Dybala and João Cancelo, and they signed the shirt for me. But from Juventus, he's gonna have to. Is basically the best player there.
My son's a big Paulo Dybala fan. So he likes Paulo Dybala.
He almost came to Tottenham if it wasn't for Levy and his stubborn.
Yeah, I was like, so my son is a Tottenham fan, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's crazy fan. And my son is a very negative person. He tends to always like, oh, we're gonna get killed, or oh, we're gonna do this, or oh, we're gonna do that. And I was hoping that Paulo Dybala would come to Tottenham simply for the fact that he would maybe pay a little bit more attention. He still watches all the games and stuff like that when they're not super early. But
okay. Just one last point. Just to follow on, if possible, if anyone can answer this. From the first question which I asked was, does it not appear to be that we're ungrateful? What about the other question, which is there a danger that with us doing what we're doing, that our club may regress and get worse? I mean, surely some of the fan base is thinking, well,
what if it does? If it gets worse, are we not going to watch it anymore? Who cares if it gets worse? If the issues get solved, look, this is like anything in life, right? In order for the tree to continue to grow and not die, not the whole tree die, the dead branches, it's got to be pruned, right? The rotten parts of the tree, the disease infested parts of the tree have to be pruned. And if that means that the tree gets smaller in the short term in order to grow bigger in the long term, why not? Right? Like I said, I wouldn't care. You're telling me, like, if a Sunderland issue type happened, that you guys aren't going to support Tottenham anymore. then that means that Sunderland supporters have bigger hearts than you guys do. You know what I mean? Because they went down all the way
I'll where they
2 or
go.
3 levels. I'll still support them.
Yeah, I'll support them all the way, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes that's it. Sacrifice has to be made.
I don't want to
if you
see
can-
it. I don't want that to happen, but I'm okay if it does. If it mean only if it meant getting Enoch out. All right. If you were to say Enoch out and we're relegated to the championship next year, cool. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Maybe when Spurs become a bad investment, don't make Levy any more money, then maybe he'll let it go. Right?
That's impossible.
The club, I think
That's
the
impossible.
club, or I'm not sure whether the club or Enoch is in debt for the stadium. That's another thing that.
No, it's the club. It's the. I'm pretty
So
certain it's
Enoch
the
is
club
not-
that has to
yeah,
pay the debt.
Yeah, so that means Enoch is not in debt. The club is in debt, right? But Enoch
Yeah.
is responsible of paying back that debt.
Yeah, but he has an administration. He has an administrator like Levy, right? Yeah, to handle the books for him. So the club's earnings, right? Yeah, will pay back whatever, whether it's staff, ground fees, and so forth. The club itself is making money internationally, in so many different ways, and because of that revenue stream coming in, it pays for all the debts, so they can make improvements and grow things and create more debt for the club. I mean, if you know when Sugar sold the club, say initially his stake for 23 million, if he knew that the club would go on to take a 1.17 billion pound debt to build a stadium, if the fans knew that we're going to put our club into over £1 billion worth of debt and that the club would be liable to have to pay that back, you know, I don't know whether or not the fans would have jumped up and down about it so much, getting Sugar out. But having said that, you know, there are a lot of people out there who genuinely in their heart believe that good things have happened to Spurs because our profile internationally has grown. So, you know, when you mention the word glory, it seems to me that there is more than one version of the word glory. For some, it's like getting some silverware. For some, it's competing, but getting their club to have better facilities, to have a better youth development, to have better coaching, to have better stadium, to secure longevity for the club, because they've experienced, like yourself, Eugene, you've experienced moments where there was real fear that the club would go under. And this is still a reality in today's world, where no matter how big a club can get, it can still, over a few years, trip itself up and cause itself to go down. I mean, we have yet to feel the consequences of the decision that Levy made to sign in to the ESL. We don't know what the Premier League or the FA or anyone else is going to do, FIFA is going to do, UEFA is going to do as punishment for this. But I believe all this is a negotiation
I don't think
tactic.
they do anything. To me,
Yeah, I think
they
it's a
do
negotiation tactic for the actual
Slap in the
Super
wrist.
League. That
Yeah,
All right,
you're gonna
guys,
get
let's wrap it up. We've got another show tomorrow night. We've got our rant show tomorrow night. Save up that inks, Mr. K. Save it up, and let's unleash it there. I have to run, unfortunately.
Thanks, Will. Thanks.
So yeah.
Good show, Will.
I have
Yeah.
about 5 minutes before I have to jump in the car and drive an hour to my son's training. So I have to
In that
go.
case,
Take
come
care,
on, you
take care.
Spurs. Let's get behind the
Come on, you
team,
Spurs.
whatever they're playing.
Yeah.
And the protest, well, that's going to be outside. So thank you,
Yep,
everyone.
for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Kid, any of these daytime shows that we have people on, you're welcome to join. And then Mr. K and Eugene, thank you for always. Brian, thank you for always coming on the show and being a great guest. Mr. K will be having an announcement in the next week or so stay tuned to that. We'll make an official one on the channel once the time slots are confirmed. That's a teaser for you. So make sure to stay tuned for that as well. I'm gonna throw you guys out because I have some business to handle as I do my outro here. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you fellas next time. So thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
us.
it.
Come on.
Oh, sorry, Mr. K. Come on, your spirit, which is what he said. Yeah. Announcements. Boom. Let's get your comment out of the way. Morning THFC with Cody Mack is airing every Wednesday at 6 a.m. starting this coming Wednesday. If you want to see Cody Mack popping up out of your teacup first thing in the morning, you know where to come find him. Right here at THFCRants. And regardless of what the haters say, if you want one, you know where to get it. If you don't, that's cool too. Right? You do what you want to do. But for the fun stuff, and these are the ones you got to get, The Bun. Go check out his new Twitter page. Make sure you do that. I don't have the link to that now, but you can get the at Danny Kiriakou. And you can find it. Moon Boots, you know what to do. I'm telling you, bro. And thanks again to all of our Patreons, Williams Rangers, Spartan 7 Gaming, Wayne Bonner, and Mama Coates, who upgraded her $5 donation to a $10 donation because Cody Mack made her feel guilty that the inheritance was only $5 a month. And thanks, Cody, for the $5. Anyway, folks, I appreciate it. I got to go to practice. I'm already late. We'll see you next time. Stay strong, stay Spurs, and stay tuned for the next show that we'll be having on the channel. Will be our pre-match rant show tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in for that. And who knows, we may jump on the midday and Friday as well. But right now, the only one that's on the schedule is for the pre-match rant show, the open mic show, the open to everyone show, 10 p.m. Friday night. Stay strong, stay Spurs. And we'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go now.